athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Reese is here. Cole is here as well. Sam Monson dropping by at 9:33. Had some pretty straightforward comments on the malfeasance that's being done at the quarterback position with the Cleveland Browns. He'll join us at 9:33. Dom at 10:33 as he will drop by. And, of course, it is a Jackets opening night, one that's going to have about every possible spectrum of feeling on it. Shelly time at 11:33 on that side of things. I did want to start here, though. I was on with the Juice Bringers this morning, and Bob asked me about if anything has changed in terms of the Buckeyes and my feeling towards them accomplishing all of their goals based on, what are we, 72 hours out from the loss, or there's about from the loss at Oregon. And I thought about it for a second. I took a beat, and the answer to it, I think, is yeah. I think something has changed, and I think what's changed is validation that in the big moments when talent equates, for whatever reason, this team is not getting it done. We have a decent track record now, going back a couple of years, of not getting it done in the big moments. You have the Notre Dame game, and that one kind of hangs out there, and that's it, and that's a nice win. But there aren't enough of those that have happened. When talent equates, you should win half of them. That's really the job. You're not going to win them all. You should win half of them. And Ohio State isn't doing that at this moment. There's a million different reasons why that could be happening. But the one thing that has changed for me is, and I use the analogy on with them, and I would use this same one. I'll just switch it and make it a hoops analogy, since I had the first basketball practice for Bootsy last night, which was a scene. And it's when sometimes a shooter just needs to see the ball go through the net. And the same thing can happen to a football team. You just need to win one of these close games. And you need to win one against a team with like opponents. And it's a cathartic experience. I think if you remember the Notre Dame win from 2 years ago, and you think about how Ryan reacted so viscerally after that win and what it meant to him and how emotional he was. He's calling out Lou Holtz in the post game, and Kyle McCord had that made some plays, and you win the game in South Bend, and you say, okay, this is who we are, and you pound your chest a little bit. It's cathartic. That's how much that one meant to be able to get that. And so not winning on Saturday night, now that carries back onto you, especially when you add on to it the end of the last season with the Michigan loss. And so you've had a couple of more of these things where talent equates and you have come up short. And I think one thing that can happen here is you can start to second guess everything. You can kind of start to say, well, we didn't do it because we weren't tough enough. We didn't do it because we weren't chesty enough. We didn't do it because we were fearless. We didn't do it for various reasons. But the reality is you didn't do it. And sometimes you start to stray from what made you and the program what you are. And I think something that they've got to figure out this bye week is back to who they are. What is the motto for the team this season? It's leave no doubt. Leave no doubt. That's what it is. It was not a football team on a Saturday night that left no doubt. It was a football team on a Saturday night that created more doubt. Oregon is really good. It is acknowledged. I think it's appropriate. Ohio State only dropped to 4th. I do think they are a top 5 team in the country. I would acknowledge, though, and I think many of you would as well, that that's based on what we believe their talent to be. What we know their talent to be. Because of the way that the schedule has played out, your best metric from a schedule standpoint is a close loss at Oregon. That's your best metric. It's the best thing that you can kind of hang your hat on. You did handle Iowa, and so there's a little bit there, I suppose, as well. On the other side of it, and if we led into this last week with the Oregon game, talking about what was Dan Lanning's signature win? How bad did he need a signature win? It was, a couple of wins against Utah? That's about it. Lost to Washington 3 times. His bowl games were nondescript. The very first game against Georgia gets housed. You give him a pass for that first year on the job. You get it. But this was a chance for him to get a signature win, and he got one. And it did so in the closing moments with really one of the most clutch things and savvy moves that we've seen in terms of taking advantage of the rules. We had James Crepea on last week. He covers Oregon for the Oregonian. He's an Ohio State graduate, known him for a long time, and he was the guy that was asking the question that you're about ready to hear the answer to. So this is end of the game. There's, 10 seconds on the clock with a timeout, 10 or 11, and Oregon runs the 12th man out. And they get called for the 12th man penalty, but those seconds don't come back on the clock. Here is the question, I believe, and the answer from Lanning on what happened on the 12-man penalty.
Much of the commentary world has decided and struck you as a genius, Dan, for the 12-man penalty and declared that it was intentional. Was it indeed intentional to induce the throw one-on-one against Jabbar in that spot?
It wasn't one-on-one. We actually had a safety on top. So there was so it's called dog. It's when you play, but he wasn't in extremely tight coverage, but he was in dog coverage where he had safety on top of him. And, there was a timeout before that. We spent an inordinate amount of time on situations. There's some situations that don't show up very often in college football, but this is one that obviously was something that we had worked on. So you can see the result.
Would it be accurate to say, for those, Reese and Cole, you guys have seen it, would it be accurate for me to say that he is smirking the entire time he's answering
He didn't
this?
stop smiling. So it sounded like it was James Crepea, a friend of the program,
It was James.
asked
Yeah,
him that.
it was.
And when he gets in the latter part of the question, a grin appears. Mm-hmm. And Dan Lanning smiling all through the answer. Yeah. And that's a sound of football explanation, because that's just, situations and whatnot. But he couldn't stop smiling because he knew.
Cat ate the canary, boys.
Yeah, he got away with it.
He did. He took advantage.
Tremendous gamble, and it worked.
He was clear-headed in the last 12 seconds of the most important game to this point. You could argue last year's Pac-12 championship game, but he lost. He hadn't won one of these yet. And he had to be clear-headed in a moment where it required clarity, and he ran a 12th man out, knowing that the seconds were not going to go back on the clock. That they weren't. And what's 5 yards?
I mean, it's like one of those things where you make that deal
every day,
twice on Sunday,
every day. So now instead of 2 plays or maybe 2 plays to get closer, you had 1. It changed everything. It's one of those things that changed everything. And Lanning deserves his flowers because it was a very crafty job out of him to get it done. And so this will be a long bye week for the Buckeyes. This is going to be a tough week. And you'll see him again at Big Noon against Nebraska. We'll talk about him a little bit later in the program. But that just struck me when I saw that clip from Dan from last night, thinking, God, Cat ate the canary, dude. He sorted it all out. Let me ask you this, baseball heads. Why did we play 2 baseball games last night in the LCS?
Ratings?
Against Monday Night Football?
Well, you had the NLCS go earlier. Like, that was a 4 o'clock-ish start.
1 p.m. pitch in Los Angeles.
So you go 1 o'clock p.m., and then you run the other one against Monday Night Football. 1 o'clock local, rather. You run the other one against Monday. This is the LCS.
Yeah.
And we're not going every other day? Why are we doing these? Am I wrong, or in the old days were these every other day?
It feels like they were. I think the schedule is 1-1, day off, 1-1-1, day off, 1-1 for the travel aspect of it.
Yeah, I just think all you got to do is just line it up to where there's one every night. And you're going to have to go against Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. You get it every once in a while, but don't just run out Dodgers-Mets, which did a huge number in Game 1 in the middle of the afternoon on a Monday.
You're right.
That's not trying.
Yeah, I think it did feel a little bit, just looking at the schedule on Saturday afternoon. And I might have had a couple pops at this time, but they're just trying to rush us to Yankees-Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And, all of their advertising and all of the commentary in last night's Game 1 seemed to point to that. And, again, I'm not breaking any news. That's what Major League Baseball would want. But, yeah, I have no idea how to explain that scheduling other than they go game, travel day, game, travel day, game. So we can get in the World Series, and that's where you make your money.
All right, your Gardos lost last night, 5-2. Pretty tough third for them.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Not sure I love the idea of putting a rookie pitcher in, bases loaded against that lineup. Bo Naylor did not do Joey Cantillo any favors. So it was a brutal inning all around. I'm not sure Alex Cobb couldn't have gotten the same result. He just might have made them earn it a little bit instead of just throwing close to the plate where it bounces off the ground. But the Dodgers crushed the Mets 9-0 in Game 1, and the Mets rebounded last night. So there's no reason to think that with Bibee on the mound tonight for the Guardians, that can't be a similar situation.
How soul-destroying was it when that ball left the bat of Giancarlo Stanton and you know it was going not anywhere near the fence, way over it?
I can't say what I said on the air. Yeah, that's about as crushing as it, because, I mean, he hit it in the square of the barrel of the friggin' bat. I mean, it's one of the most gorgeous sounds in sport.
Yeah.
But that'll sit you down, and that'll turn a frown upside down pretty quickly. I mean, that's a terrifying lineup, and just be like, here, rookie, the bases are loaded. Go try something. It's like,
I know this has been going on for a long time, but it's still jarring when you see, and the Dodgers do this too. Like Ohtani hits leadoff, like. This idea of let's just get him more at bats, and you see like Juan Soto hitting second, like all of this stuff that is now very normal in baseball. But as a kid, and you think about your best hitters hit third, fourth, cleanup. I mean that was a cleanup spot. Now you put him at the top, and it makes sense, right? Just more at bats, more pitches to hit. So it's been interesting to watch this with the boys and try to, because they're into it now, right? Because it's their mom's a Cleveland girl, so she's locked in and she's watching all of it, and so they're watching a little bit. So we watched both. Had that on, and had the Monday Night Football game on as well. And it helps that it's the Yankees. Because there is something about that place, and there's something about the new stadium or the old one, no matter where it is. There's a look to it. There's a feel to it. There's a darkness, and the way that it juxtaposes with the white, that dark navy in both of them. And for the Guardians to be in the middle of it, this is a lot of fun. And hopefully this series can be a long one. It's Bibee and Cole tonight, Reese, I believe. Is that where we're standing?
I'm pretty confident with Tanner Bibee on the mound for this.
All right.
There you go. 7, I think it'll be Yankees in 6. I'll say it right now.
All right. The other one is now split with that afternoon delight with the Mets getting the win out at Chavez Ravine in Los Angeles. I don't know that it matters from a television executives too much if it's Yankees-Mets or Yankees-Dodgers. And quite honestly, I think even the Guardians-Dodgers or Mets would rate really well. I think obviously Yankees-Dodgers would be the number one choice, but I think all 4 of these scenarios would all win. I think that there will be a lot of interest in the World Series no matter what, as long as it's not a sweep. I think you're going to get a lot of interest. We had a Monday Night Football game last night as well. It went down to the wire. We will get into that. And, of course, we have opening night at Nationwide. Jackets, Florida Panthers. Jackets have shown you something in the first 2 games. It's a long season, but the way they're playing is different than what we've seen before. We'll get into that coming up next. We're off and running on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited truck month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Create a safe sleep environment for your baby by using the ABCs of safe sleep. Babies are safest alone on their backs in an empty crib. Always place your baby on his or her back while sleeping, and be sure to use a firm sleep surface. Remember, room sharing without bed sharing is safest. For more information, visit childrenandyouth.ohio.gov/infant safe sleep.
At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding, and don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service: bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformation transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company. And it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths Are Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, loan to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. Baths Are Us, where dreams soak in.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus. Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy. Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush. Plus, top-of-the-line grills still in stock. Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
There's a shocking new government report about the border crisis Sherrod Brown created. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, almost 500,000 convicted criminals have entered our country illegally, including nearly 30,000 found guilty of murder and sexual assault, including rape in their home countries. Now they are spread out across America because of Sherrod Brown's policies. But Sherrod Brown says,
I don't hear a lot about immigration from voters.
That's because Sherrod Brown doesn't listen to voters anymore. And while our safety is being jeopardized, Sherrod Brown is making sure illegals get taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals who get amnesty, Social Security, even COVID relief checks, all paid for by you. 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Good morning. Some chilly air on the way. We have gone ahead and issued freeze warnings for Wednesday morning and Thursday morning as temperatures dip down below freezing for parts of the area. Today, we're looking at a few showers, otherwise cloudy with a high of 54. Clearing tonight, low 35. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, or whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we ask you to join us. Unforgettable evening. It's Tuesday, November 12th, High Bank in Grandview. We're thrilled to invite you to the release of our exclusive fan barrel picks. I was in on these. It's 3 very distinct flavors, 3 very distinct bottles. They are a delight. There's something for everyone on these, and this is what High Bank does at their best, is they can flat out blend it, and some of these are just absolute masterpieces from Adam, and I think you're going to love them. Proceeds here benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Enjoy exclusive barrel picks, delicious food pairings, live music, and a meet and greet with select athletes. For tickets and more information, head to 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. This will be a different opening night, obviously, for your Columbus Blue Jackets. So let's do the very hard part first. And there won't be a dry eye. There will not be. With the loss of Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau and his parents, their parents will be in attendance. Guy Gaudreau has been at practice. He was at practice yesterday and as a guest of Dean Evison, and this is going to be a very emotional night for everybody involved, obviously. And then after that, you're going to play a hockey game that my guess will be quite spirited and quite inspired. But managing all of that on this opening night is going to be tricky. Managing it over the course of the season is going to be very tricky. You're very lucky that we have a coach now in place who's been through these wars before. And while he hasn't ever dealt with anything like the tragedy that happened with the Gaudreau brothers, he has seen a lot in his time on a bench. And we're going to talk about this in a second in terms of the style of play we've seen very early on from the Blue Jackets. But it's inspired. It's everything that I thought you could hope to see at your best. You've seen it. And so we'll get into that in a second. But the focus tonight will be on what happens before the game, the tributes that are done to Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, and all of the things that goes into that. So here is Dean Evison on having Guy Gaudreau at practice and what that has meant for the operation.
You guys probably know more than me, but I've been told that like Johnny Gaudreau is a rink rat. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Okay, he just wanted to be on the ice, like he just wanted to be here, and then. We asked him, do you want to speak in the room before? We went in, had a little meeting. He said no, and then he had a little chat with the guys, and then on the ice, he was just like, it looked like he was just just having a blast, right? Like just having fun skating. And finished practice, come in, and I said to him, like anytime you want to come out, you're more than welcome. And he said, well, are you having morning skate tomorrow? He said, yeah, so he's coming out tomorrow as well. So he just wants to be around, and it's fantastic. So, all that family's been through, it's been fantastic, and his attitude and the way that he had such a positive attitude and in our room, and we were doing practice plan, and he's jumping in on stuff, and it was really nice.
Here is that's incredible. Incredible seeing there. Torts did that in Philly. They're from the Philly area, so Torts did that in Philly and welcomed him out, called him out of the blue, and said, "Hey, come on out." And so that's incredible. Tonight will be an emotional powder keg. Here is Evison on what he expects tonight to be like.
Emotional, right? Everyone, and we've talked about this before. Everyone's going to go through it, and they're going to have their own emotions and feelings, and everyone's going to express it differently as far as their how they're going to they're going to react to situations, and that's fine. And we've talked to our group about that as well, is just to just let it go. If you need to cry, then cry. If you need to talk about Johnny, if you need to just giggle about things, then do that, right? And because it's such a an unprecedented thing, and something that obviously none of us wanted to go through, and nobody ever wants to go through it, but we have to, and we are going to have an emotional day, but we're going to use all that emotion and turn it into a energy for us as a group moving forward, and throwing that on the ice when that puck drops.
Have either of you guys ever been to an opening night at Nationwide?
No.
I have not
been
either.
to one. They're remarkable regardless. So what they'll do is they will introduce everyone on the team, and not just players. It'll be trainers, coaches, everybody who's in the operation, on ice operation is introduced. It takes a long time, because you're introducing 30 people. But it feels like by the time you're done with it, you introduce everybody. So it's already a really cool night. It's the unveil of they do the hype video first for the season. So that gets everybody going. They introduce the players. The first time Leo sings the national anthem, all of the things that you've come to know and love. So that's a powder keg anyway. And then you put this emotion of honoring the Gaudreau brothers with his family in the building on top of it, and I just can't imagine what it's going to be like. Big picture for them in terms of what's happened on the ice so far, I'm going to tell you some things that make me pretty damn happy. Kent Johnson, 2 goals. Chinnikov, 4 points, a goal and 3 assists. Fantilli already with a goal. This is the future of this. And what I've seen early, if you go back to the opener we talked with Jody, was, all right, set expectations. This is a very young, inexperienced roster. But, and I don't think there's a chance that this is a playoff team. I don't. We're not going to come on here and say chase the 8 and all that stuff. I don't think that's what this season's about. So what I think this season, if they do that, then great. We'll jump on the bandwagon. We'll have the time of our lives. What I think this season about is young pieces going from being prospects to pros. That's what this year's about. It's 2 games. You got 80 left. Kent Johnson looks like a pro. They need him to be a pro, right? They need Fantilli to be a dude. They need Sillinger to be a dude. They need Chinnikov to be a dude. Marchenko, all these young guys, they need them to be dudes. They need them to be pros. It's 2 games out of 82, but we're seeing some of that, Reese.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start the way that this team has, with just playing free, playing with a lot to prove and little to lose. And you also play, obviously, tonight in the 3-game homestand. The Jackets are going to be honoring the Goudreau brothers in each of them, but you play in his memory. And to have Guy there the past couple of days, I'm sure has been a great and wonderful distraction for him. A chance to just, he knows, of course, the impact that his sons had on hockey and the impact that Johnny had on this hockey team. But to be able to be on the ice with his teammates and the players that loved his son, and to see all of that, everybody just one big hockey hug. And then you get to do that in front of a raucous crowd tonight at Nationwide Arena that really will just, figures to just do nothing but motivate to play their absolute best tonight against the defending Stanley Cup champions, who also, because of so much connectivity in hockey, will be playing emotionally.
And it's not just that you beat the Avalanche, it's how many goals you scored in that game.
Right.
Where'd that offense come from? Obviously, 4 goals is a little bit to give up, but who cares if you score 6? Where's that offense been? So I think that was
fun.
A little bit inspiring for Blue Jackets fans, especially piggybacking off of a game, their opening game in Minnesota, where we were kind of just like, hey, it was they played competitively. The bar was really, really low, and it's not going to look like the Avalanche game every single time, but it was nice to see it pretty quickly.
Even in the loss to Minnesota, I thought their style was inspiring. I thought they, puck luck, things don't go.
Oh, they got robbed. That JVR was not goaltender interference.
But the way they played, I like it. It's 2 of 82. Tonight will be special. Shelly time coming up at 11:33. Nothing special about what's happening at the quarterback position with the Cleveland Browns. Sam Monson watches all the film. He knows what Stefanski's offense is supposed to look like. He'll join us on it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This is a friendly reminder that hockey is back, and it's awesome. Hockey? Ice hockey? You're listening to Blue Jackets Week. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
You know that project you've been working on? Just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
From the mind of a 2-foot-tall talking spokes puppet comes this year's biggest challenge. It's time for Bob's Dare to Compare, the hottest game show on TV that asks, what happens when you compare Bob's to the competition? You get style. You get quality. You get beeps and boops and dings and whomps. And thousands of dollars in savings. Everyone's a winner when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or at mybobs.com to play now.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture expert technicians who are quick but not rushed. When you hear the bell, breathe in and out. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today and find automotive peace. No appointment needed.
James Laurinaitis for Custom Air. Custom Air is devoted to quality, customer service, and trust. They are always there when you need them, and they deliver on what they promise. That's how they do things. It's the Custom Air way. Custom Air, custom solutions, custom comfort. CustomAirColumbus.com.
Gambling too much? I'm Abdullah Mahmood, problem gambling counselor at Mary Haven, where we offer in-person, virtual, and group options. We're here for you no matter what, and that's a bet you can actually count on this football season. Go to maryhaven.com today.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop. Join us for the Make a Difference Gallop at High Bank Distillery in Grandview. Taste new fan barrel picks and support the Third and Goal Foundation. Tickets are on sale now at 971thefan.com. 21 or older, please drink responsibly.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of Rocktober, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
If it's hot, it's here. The best new stuff is at GNC. GNC brings you some of the best new products first from brands like Optimum Nutrition, Ghost, Bloom, and more. GNC has the newest breakthroughs in muscle building, weight loss, and wellness, and the best energy drink flavors. If you heard about it at the gym, you can bet that conversation started at GNC. Ask a coach about the newest drops at your GNC store or shop our full collection online at gnc.com today. If it's hot, it's here. GNC.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. For instance, TCU walked into the locker room at halftime in the 2016 Alamo Bowl, down 31-0. The Horned Frogs stormed into the second half and erased a 31-point deficit to force overtime, and eventually won it in the third overtime, 47-41.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday edition of the program. Let's get smarter. I think he's one of the best in the business when it comes to breaking down what's happening in NFL games. He's our good buddy, Sam Monson. Check the Mike podcast on the 33rd team, and he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. What do you see? And I know from years, interviewing you for years on Stefanski and the Brown side of things, what is the difference in terms of what is happening with play calls and design with Stefanski this year with the Browns versus previous years, Sam?
I think they're lost in the tall grass trying to find an offense that they can make work with Deshaun Watson right now. The whole offseason has been about trying to rescue Watson's career and get him back on track and, get a system that's going to work and get him back not even to where he was at his best, but just bridge the gap between what he's been so far and where he was at his best. And so they, brought in new voices. They tweaked the offense a bit. And I think the further you go down that path, simplifying it, changing this, removing that, you just end up with a system that doesn't work anymore. It's not your offense. It's not an offense designed to attack NFL defenses anymore. It's something that's been pared back and simplified in an attempt to make it functional for a quarterback. But it's sort of self-defeating. You end up in a spiral where all your attempts to simplify and make the offense easier to operate just make it easier to defend, and it doesn't actually make it any better. It just makes it worse.
Sam, this is going on 3 seasons, parts of 3 seasons. He's had injuries. He was suspended the first year. Have you seen anything in Deshaun Watson's time in Cleveland to lead you to believe that the player that he was in Houston still exists?
Physically, it's still there. That's about the only thing you can cling to at this point is every game you see a throw or two where you're reminded of what he's capable of doing. The arm is still there. He's still athletic. He's still capable physically of doing everything he did in Houston when he was playing at his best. So that, I think, is the only thing you cling to in looking at his tape and saying it's not like we're looking at a guy and the tape says it just isn't there anymore physically. You know, his arm is shot or an injury has ruined him or whatever. It's just not the same player. He's physically the same guy. We're just not seeing the same football. So, you know, make of that what you will, I guess.
Well, that's the most terrifying thing, right? Almost that it'd be easier if it was physical because then it's mental, right. And then that's a lot harder to try to put back together. In terms, and that maybe explains why they're working so hard to try to salvage it because they probably see that same thing as well. In terms of, you will hear people saying, I've heard them say this. Hey, look, we're and this is true. They're giving up the pressure rate, the amount of pressure that's on him. How much of the pressure that Deshaun Watson is receiving is a byproduct of injuries in the offensive line not playing as well as it did under Bill Callahan, and how much of it is on him? In other words, Sam, are there more plays to be made than he's making despite the pressure?
Yeah, absolutely. Quarterbacks are a big factor in their own pressure rate, and that can be both very directly and it can be indirectly. So, if you look at PFF, they charge pressure directly to quarterbacks. And Deshaun Watson has been charged with the second most sacks in the NFL this season individually. So forget the offensive line. They are charging him with a higher number of those sacks, a higher number than anybody else outside of Brock Purdy this season, and a lot of his pressure as well. But then there's also the indirect pressure that the quarterback is responsible for, which is, okay, outside of plays where you were specifically responsible, how many plays did you stress your pass protection by holding onto the ball too long or just generally, lingering in the pocket when a different quarterback would have gotten rid of the ball earlier, would have made a play before the pressure started to become a factor. So this is part of, you have an offensive line that's got a bunch of injuries. You've got guys that are struggling to deal with the demands that they're going to have to contend with. That's when you need to speed up your process as a quarterback, get rid of the ball sooner, help those guys out. And he's not. We're seeing one of the longest average time to throws in the NFL. That's sort of standard thing for Watson, but he's not turning it into positive scrambles. He's not turning it into positive plays when he holds onto the ball. He's just making life tougher for the offensive line.
If you were Kevin Stefanski, what would you do with this situation?
At this point, I don't think it's salvageable. I think they've done everything they can. They've brought in different voices. They've tried to change the offense. They've gone away from what they want to do philosophically with Stefanski's system and what's worked with other quarterbacks, all in an attempt to get anything better out of Deshaun Watson and try and get him somewhere back to where he's been. And it hasn't moved the needle. I mean, if anything, it's made things worse by sort of reducing the positive impact of what the offense can do. And it hasn't changed anything on Watson's side from a positive point of view. So it's a terrible situation. There's no good, but I think the least bad thing they can do is sit him down. And like the Bryce Young thing, it doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be, this is now the end and he's going to get cut or we're going to have to deal with hundreds of millions of dollars worth of dead cap space. But you have to sit him down, see if Jameis Winston sparks something, see if time sitting can potentially reset Deshaun Watson from the sideline and figure out what you can do with him going forward. But right now, I don't think that they can pull out of this without some kind of hard reset at the quarterback position, however long that's going to be for.
Talking to Sam Monson. Check the Mic is the podcast on the 33rd team. Check it out. You'll get smarter if you do. Sam, down in Cincinnati, they improved to 2-4. Is there some bit of satisfaction? I understand it was the Giants, but the Giants were decent against Seattle last time out. Is there some satisfaction that they were able to win without having Burrow to throw for 300 and without Jamar Chase really being unlocked?
Yeah, I mean, I think Burrow said it well after the game, which was, it was pretty ugly. It wasn't good, but they got the win, and that was the only important thing for them at this point. Their offense generally this season has been one of the best offenses in the NFL, and it's been offset by the defense being one of the worst in the NFL. In this game, it was kind of different. The defense actually did hold a bit, and the offense didn't fire as much as it has previously. So, I think they'll take that, because they know that the offense is a lot closer and it's probably going to have a much higher baseline than the defense over the course of the year. We know Joe Burrow is capable of, incredibly high-end play, so they just needed a win. They just needed to get out of there without the season being completely dead and buried, get another win. Their margin for error is extremely slim, but this is a team we know is capable of beating the best teams in football.
Yeah, they certainly are. I want to ask you about what Arthur Smith is doing in Pittsburgh with Justin Fields and the success that they're having, a couple of touchdowns on the ground. He's been relatively efficient. Russ is back healthy. What have you seen from Fields and Pittsburgh, and is this sustainable? And now could this be a long-term home for him there?
Maybe. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense is really good this year. Fields is still a devastating athlete as a runner in particular. Early in the year, he was playing much better as a passer. Mm-hmm. It was efficient. It wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't, incredibly productive, but he was making just enough plays. The last couple of weeks, though, I think he's taken a step back and hasn't played his best football. This week, them getting the win was big for him, but I think the performance was a second week in a row where, particularly as a passer, he did not look particularly good. And given that they've sort of always maintained Russell Wilson is QB1. Once he's healthy, he'll be the guy. They have a decision to make. They have definitely the cover to be able to go back to Russell Wilson and say, Fields hasn't won this job based off how he's played the last few weeks. But it's definitely a decision to make now because, their offensive line hasn't been great. Fields has been under a lot of pressure that he's been able to turn into positive plays that I don't know if Russell Wilson is capable of anymore. So it's definitely a tough call for Pittsburgh right now.
Sam, you and Steve with the new home at the 33rd team, tell the folks a little bit about the podcast and what they can expect.
Yeah, it's kind of the same show we had at TFF, but in a new place with a whole different sort of dynamic in terms of guests and support system of the 33rd team. So check the Mic either wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube.
Can't thank you enough, Sam. Appreciate your expertise. Thanks for loaning us a little bit of it today.
Anytime. Take it easy.
All right, that's Sam Monson. Check the Mic on the podcast on the 33rd team. Get smarter on a football side of things. Kevin Stefanski said something yesterday that was direct and was truthful. I'll tell you what it was coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan, that's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Football fans, are you ready to score big this NFL season? Hey, it's T-Bone to tell you that Bud Light and 97.1 The Fan have teamed up for the ultimate football face-off. Join us each week for football face-off events and your chance to win a trip to Vegas where you'll compete for the grand prize, a trip for 2 to New Orleans or the Super Bowl. Drink Bud Light, enjoy the games, and take your shot at football glory. This week, join me on Sunday at Shaker's Public House on Wilson Bridge Road for the Browns-Bengals game. I'll be there from 2 to 4 p.m. to give you a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
The Christmas cash giveaways now at UDF. With UDrive Plus, 1 in 7 can play to win prizes instantly, including $1,000 weekly by buying specially marked items at UDF. No purchase necessary. Visit udrivecontest.com for official rules.
Can't make it to the game? Watch the Fan's pre- and post-game shows live on YouTube. Just search 971 The Fan and click subscribe.
The Fan's YouTube channel is sponsored by Coors Light.
Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Now is a great time to start your holiday shopping at Meijer. Save big this week with our early holiday deals. Save $40 on a Gourmet air fryer. Save $30 when you buy a Keurig K-Slim single-serve coffee maker. And for the competitive ones on your gift list, select board games are 20% off. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide. Available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
Hey guys, if you notice a lack of energy and drive, it could be low testosterone. Get your levels checked by the experts at Low T Center. They have over a decade of experience helping patients with testosterone therapy or TRT. And for established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored at-home TRT with advanced treatment that includes both lab testing and medication. And the TRT treatment from Low T Center is an optimized personal treatment plan. Low T Center ships directly to your door. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
I'm gonna tell you. Look, if you're the general manager and the owner of the team, and you love being in front of the camera or on the mic, then this is a little bit where you're going to get. This is what I'm referring to. So, Jerry Jones goes on radio every Monday. They got house like 100 to 9 or whatever to Detroit at home. Jerry Jones goes on 105.3, The Fan in Dallas, every Monday during the season. This is a quote this morning that he said as they were questioning him about his choices with the roster and with McCarthy and the decisions and so forth and so on, as obviously this season's been very disappointing. This is the quote. "This is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something, and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job. I'll get somebody else to ask these questions. I'm not kidding." He's not wrong.
I guess it was, so is he the PD then?
Well, my guess is he might as well be, because it's obviously the home of the Cowboys. And if Jerry Jones says, I don't want these clowns asking me questions anymore, guess who's not going to be asking them questions anymore? That's just the reality of doing that job.
I was going to save this for Thing or Not a Thing, but I think the orneriness this morning from Jones might have, well, obviously coming from, not being very good as a football team. Sure. But he held court yesterday with the media and was asked, he can't dodge questions about Mike McCarthy.
What would it take you to evaluate making a head coaching change in season?
I haven't even considered that. I'm not considering that.
Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it.
I wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you? Okay, well, I'm not going to hypothetical with you about when I'd consider coaching change in light of the timing we're sitting here with. I'm not at all.
His 82nd year is not off to a great start. 83rd, I should say.
It's funny because they did nothing in the offseason really to improve the team. He dealt with kind of mess at contract negotiations with both CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And I just assumed that they would be, and I think most people assumed they would be the team that Belichick would go to. That fit. I mean, he'd done it before with Parcells, and it worked out okay. It feels like that would be one where the egos would kind of be able to check each other, and it would work out, at least in the short term, and get you a short-term fix. So things not going well in Big D, to say the least, after that one. Things going absolutely abhorrent in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski was available yesterday. The two bites that I want to play back to, I would have some comments in between. He was asked directly after the game on Sunday in Philly if he would make a change at quarterback, and he said no. And then he was asked yesterday to reiterate if he still feels that way. And here was Stefanski on Watson, still giving him the best chance to win.
Yeah, I think it's just important that we continue to do everything we can to play good, sound football. I think there were moments of that. Obviously, yesterday, I think Deshaun gives us the best chance to win, continues to give us the best chance to win. And we need to play really good offensive football at his position and really at every position to be successful on Sunday.
The thing that's hard for Browns fans to wrap their heads around is when your head coach says that and you have an interview like the one we had with Sam Monson and the various people who follow the NFL, who do the film study around the NFL and say, this is remedial offense at best. This is really poor quarterback play at best. And you would be simply put better off making a change. Then the natural kind of progression from that is, well, why haven't you? And then you get people starting to connect the dots and say, well, it must be ownership that's putting this on Kevin Stefanski to play Deshaun Watson. He was asked this directly by Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. Here is his answer on that.
We have a good dialogue with myself, Andrew, ownership about all things that have to do with this team. They've been nothing but supportive, and any decision when it comes to football is my decision.
It's hard for people to hear, but it is the truth. And it is odd to me how many national people have gone the other way on this. The Haslams do not meddle in football when it comes to Stefanski. They don't. Not in season. That's not what they do. They've empowered him and Andrew Berry and Paul DePodesta to make decisions in season in regard to the football team. If you want to talk about coaching changes off season or roster things, sure. But this is 100%. I mean, I'm there. I'm telling you, like, it's not happening any other way. We had Sam Monson on, and I asked him, and he said, I asked him, is there anything you've seen in Deshaun Watson to this point to lead you to believe that the old Deshaun Watson is in there? And Sam said, yeah. Yeah, there are. There are some plays here or there that lead you to believe. Folks, Stefanski, Berry, DePodesta went all in, more so than even the Haslams, with Deshaun Watson. They brought the idea of the acquisition to ownership. They pushed for it. They convinced it. No one is more invested in Deshaun Watson's success than those guys are. That is something that needs to resonate a little bit, because that's the truth of the matter. It's just not true that the Haslams and ownership are saying to Kevin Stefanski, you have to play Deshaun Watson. It's just not the truth. Some people don't want to hear it. I've seen the memes, some of the stuff all over social. McNeil had a great one. It was great, like a hostage one. It was quite funny. It was very good, as most of his stuff is. But it's just not what's happening in that building. And I know it's hard to believe, but that's the truth of it.
When I watched Joe Burrow Sunday night rumble for 47 yards and a touchdown in prime time, the first thought hit me. I was like, that's where the desperation came from the Browns front office to go get Deshaun Watson. You look at that quarterback play and Mahomes and say, well, we need to get that. Because if we don't have that, and Lamar, if we don't have that, we're screwed. And so that's where, for me, the Browns' brain trust, they needed to get something like that, and they were almost certain that Deshaun Watson was going to be that guy, and then they would have had to, move heaven and earth to get him to come to Cleveland because there were other suitors out there. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's so hindsighty to sit there and be like, well, they should have seen this coming. I don't know. This kind of decline, I don't know.
I don't know how you could ever. You can't scout between what's in someone's ears.
Because you see flashes. So for me, I get it. I get it when they say Deshaun gives us the best chance to win, because that might not say good things about Jameis.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I think it's more about I think they are so leveraged with him from a roster standpoint that if they make a change off of it, because I do disagree with Sam. I don't think that you can put him to the bench and then bring him back.
No. He hits the bench, he's there for good.
He's done. And he's probably inactive because you're also dealing with a human who's not going to want to hear that. Because he's in denial, too. Like, he clearly is in denial. So there's that part of it as well. So it's a very complicated mess, and it will be a very difficult Sunday for them if things start to go off the rails early with Cincinnati in town. It will be a cauldron up there, to say the least. Second hour of the program coming up next. We start it with the real truth. Will the Buckeyes and Ducks play not once, but twice more this season? We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Men, you already know that as we age, low testosterone can cause many issues, including decreased energy, bad sleep, a lower sex drive, and more. And if you're like most men, getting treated for low T can truly change your life. But it's also important where you get treated, because your health matters, and a quality medical practice that has true expertise in men's sexual health can help you get the best outcome. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, the leader in treating low T and other men's sexual health issues in the area. And if you're feeling like I just described and haven't yet sought treatment, or if you're not satisfied with the treatment you're currently receiving, I'd invite you to call us. At Tri-State Men's Health, our expertise is men's sexual health. It's all we do. We've successfully treated thousands of men for low T, and we offer a true 5-star experience that is like no other. If you're like most men, you'll be astounded at our service and at the results of our treatments. So make an appointment today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Bo Bishop here for my friends at Diamond Cellar. Ready to pop the question but don't know where to start? Visit Diamond Cellar's After Hours on October 17th for a night out with a DJ, drinks, and exclusive discounts on engagement rings, and a chance to win OSU or CBJ tickets. Diamond Cellar's After Hours event, October 17th on Sawmill Road.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It'll be an emotional night Tuesday at Nationwide Arena. CBJ hosts the Florida Panthers in their home opener. We'll have that game on the Fan with pregame coverage at 6:30. The puck will drop at 7:13. That's in honor of Johnny Gaudreau, who, along with his brother Matthew, were killed by a drunk driver in late August. The Blue Jackets will hold memorials for the Gaudreau brothers throughout this three-game homestand. CBJ are back on the ice Thursday against Buffalo. In the NFL last night, the Buffalo Bills improved to 4-2 with a 23-20 win over the Jets. Week 7 begins Thursday in New Orleans. The Saints host the Broncos. And in baseball, the Yankees host the Guardians tonight at 7:38 in Game 2 the ALCS. New York leads the series 1-0 after their 5-2 win last night in the Bronx. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $300 cash bonus when you open a new free checking account. Visit bmifcu.org/free. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You're going to hear from Ryan Day coming up at 10:20. Dom Tiberi stopping by at 10:33 as is customary right now. On a Tuesday, we hit the real truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
Ohio State and Oregon will play 2 more football games this college football season. Is that the real truth?
I see no scenario how they're not playing each other in the Big Ten championship game. There's one. So then the question is, does it line up from a playoff standpoint where they hook up for a national championship? Because I think what they will do is they will take Georgia and Texas, because by the way, they could be in the exact. Georgia and Texas play this weekend. They are likely going to play again in the SEC title game if all goes according to chalk. And then those two teams would theoretically be able to play again in a playoff. I think those 4 teams, as assessed early in the season, are the most talented. But we've seen so far this season, most talented doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win every single time. We do have some parity in the sport that certainly I didn't see coming. I don't know if anybody saw coming at the extent that we've seen it. I'm going to say no, because I think the only way that it would happen 2 more times is if they play for a national championship. And the odds of that are pretty slim. I think they're absolutely playing 1 more time in the Big Ten championship game. And I just think that the committee will set it up that they're on opposite sides of the bracket. The loser will be the 2 seed or the 1 seed, and the other one will be opposite the 1 or 2 seed from the SEC. So I think it's just very unlikely that you get that second one, the third one rather, which would have to happen, I think, in the national championship game.
I'm inclined to say no, but we are in the middle of a baseball playoff where everybody basically just played their rival again. So I'm going to say no. And the way that it might work out, I could see Oregon getting that 5 seed too. If they run the table, then that's going to put them in a situation where they would probably be the top team to not win a conference championship, assuming Ohio State gets them back in the Big Ten championship. So they'd probably have a situation where Ohio State would be 2 and Oregon would be 5. and that means that Oregon would be in a 4-5 matchup going up against the number 1. So, as Bo just said, in a championship scenario, sure, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah, the way this is phrased is not the real truth. I do see Ohio State and Oregon playing for the Big Ten championship, which will be in Indianapolis. Army and Navy will play each other in back-to-back weeks to end the season. Is that the real truth?
Are you guys, I know you guys are because you're paying attention to things, but you guys, the collective, aware of how Army is housing people?
Throwing the ball?
They're not winning 12-7, okay? That's not what Army's doing. So, by the way, they're both undefeated. They're both ranked for the first time since 1960. But just some perspective on the Black Knights of Army and what they've done this year. They are 5-0 in their league. Here are their scores. They beat Lehigh 42-7. They beat FAU 24-7. They beat Rice 37-14. They beat Temple 42-14. They beat Tulsa 49-7. They beat UAB 44-10. This is not your mother and father's Army. This is your grandpa's Army. This is old school Army. This is let's go win Heisman's and national championship Army. So I think Army's going to play for the American championship. They're going to. They have Air Force, who Navy has already dismantled. They have East Carolina this weekend and a couple byes actually, and then they get Air Force, and they're at North Texas. Both teams play Notre Dame, by the way. Good luck with that, Marcus Freeman, having to play both of them. Then UTSA. I'm going to say it's not the real truth. I think Navy isn't quite as good as Army. As much as I'm more of a Navy man than I am an Army man, my hunch is that Navy will drop one somewhere. I'm trying to see where it could be. So Charlotte is currently undefeated in the league. They still have to play Tulane, who's undefeated in the league at 2-0. It's got to be one of those two. They play them both. If they win one of them, it's not that far off. It's not. It'd be nuts to do it. So they would, just so you understand it, folks, they would play the game, which would be, December 7th?
So they'd play the AAC title before Army-Navy.
Yeah, so they'd play the AAC title game on December 7th, which God knows where that game is. And then the next week, they'd play Army-Navy. The crazy thing is, if Army gets to that game undefeated, they will be a playoff team because they'll be the highest-ranked group of 5. So they'll be the 12 seed in the playoff, too, if they were able to somehow run the table. So there's that part of it as well, where you're playing the Army-Navy game on the 14th of December, and then you're playing in a college football playoff game on, the 20th. So there's a lot that could happen here that was not foreseen at all.
AAC championship games are played on home fields, by the way. So when's the last time Army versus Navy has been a home and home? We can get that, too. This is awesome.
I don't know if it ever has. I mean, maybe 100 years ago. It's a good question. I don't know if they ever play in Annapolis or at Mikey Stadium. I'm not sure.
I'm going to say this is the real truth.
Be amazing.
Partially because hard overhead. Also, I think that both of them playing Notre Dame, and this is a huge assumption that I should not make. Assuming Notre Dame beats them both, especially with Navy being a little less good than Army, I think that could kind of snap Navy into it. That would be a loss that is not in conference. That would not affect them in the AAC. I think they could bounce back from that and kind of rally together to possibly beat Tulane. So I'm trying to pipe dream this into reality because I think this is a really cool scenario.
Yeah, I'll speak it into existence. Why the hell not? Because we love the troops here on this show. This is
so cool.
The Armed Forces show of record here on The Fan. And so we are going to speak it into existence, an AAC title tilt before the Army-Navy game on December 14th. I think a couple of years, and by a couple, maybe 10 or so, Cincinnati played Memphis to end the regular season. And then I think Cincinnati then hosted Memphis the next week in the title game. So that stuff's happened, but nothing like this before.
It's so funny because we spent all offseason talking about how the possibility with all of the elimination of divisions and conference realignment. Could you imagine if Ohio State and Michigan played back-to-back weeks? I don't think anybody was drawing up Army and Navy playing back-to-back weeks as their conference championship into a regular season game that happens after the conference championship game.
The thing that the reason that I believe that this is happening is these two teams, by definition, row or march in the exact same direction. They don't have 20 kids coming into the portal. They know exactly who they are, and they execute perfectly every single time because their lives and all of yours depend on it. So that's why I think they're having the success that they're having.
The New York Jets will not make the playoffs. Is that the real truth?
Yeah. I think it's a mess. They look. They got a Hail Mary. They got a god awful call on Epineza that extended a drive that led to a touchdown. They dropped to 2-4. There are a lot of wins in their division, which is the only reason that I have pause, because Miami is not what they were, and New England might be the overall worst team in football. But if you think Baltimore and Pittsburgh are in, the Texans are in, Kansas City's in, I think the Chargers are in. That's 5. That leaves 2 spots. So right now, the Colts are 3-3. Denver is 3-3. Cincinnati is 2-4. I like them more than the Jets. There's a roadmap for them. It's not impossible, but I'm going to go no.
This is not the real. I'm sorry. This is the real truth, because you phrased it as they will not make the playoffs. They will not make the playoffs. I think they are talented enough to make the playoffs, but there's too much chaos going on. Last night being Exhibit A of that, where they left a lot of points on the board. Breece Hall couldn't beat a safety one-on-one in the open field, and then that set up a 1st and goal instead of a touchdown, and then they couldn't convert the touchdown, so they had to settle for a field goal. Well, at least Greg Zuerlein made that kick because he didn't make the other kick, and he also didn't make the kick against Denver. So they're leaving points on the board. They're throwing away games that they shouldn't be throwing away. Mike Williams also, if you stand up, you'll catch the ball instead of having it intercepted over your back. They're giving away games right now, and this is just a sloppy team with the whole coaching controversy. Yeah, I'm not feeling this team right now.
Yeah, Greg Zuerlein, make your kicks. I think it is the real truth. I think they're cooked. If they get Devontae Adams, they can figure things out with Hassan Reddick, maybe. But right now,
well,
no.
Did you see? Reddick was. They gave him permission to seek a trade this morning.
Oh, they are cooked.
They're cooked. So that tells me. I mean, like, first of all, that's Detroit, right? They just lost Hutchinson.
Yep.
Like, if you're Detroit, you make that deal, so you get Reddick in there, and that keeps you having an elite pass rusher. So yeah, that's kind of where that's trending.
And last one, chocolate prices are up.
Okay.
Chocolate candy sales are down this year. Sweet, sour, fruity candy is better to give out for Halloween anyway. Is that the real truth?
It's funny. All of my kids kind of choose differently. Like, Bootsy is the sweet, sour, fruity, garbage candy guy. I'm more of a chocolate guy. NBC, the 12-year-old, is more of a chocolate guy. I think Beamsy's more of a sweet, sour guy. I'm going to say that this might be the real truth, and this is my justification for it. So I'm of an era where when I was a kid and you'd go to the grocery store, my mom, we go grocery shopping with my mom. There'd be the thing, and you'd be able to pick. We each could pick one candy bar. Like, that's how old I am. Like, you could pick a candy bar, and then you got it with the groceries. So the chocolate you could have once a week or something like that. The fruity, sweet, sour stuff you never got. So, like, when all of a sudden you're at Halloween and somebody throws a box of Nerds in, let's go. I mean, that's new. So I think this might be the real truth.
Also, the Jets just acquired Devontae Adams.
And there you go.
This from Diana Rossini. The Raiders and Jets are finalizing a trade that would send the 3-time All-Pro receiver to New York. Ian Rappaport had it first. We'll look into compensation on that. But
2 and 4 teams who just fired their head coach should not be acting like they're all in.
They're as all in as they can be. I mean, they can't. They have pushed all of the chips in. They've fired the coach. They've given 8 everything he wants. Like, they're going to be. It's going to be dangerous. There's no question.
The compensation, the Jets are sending a 2025 third-round pick that can become a second-rounder, and New York's taken the rest of Adams' salary.
All right. There you go.
What are his thoughts on Halloween candy?
Sweet and sour chocolate. Go. You got 30 seconds.
Sweet and sour. The fruity candy, I think, is better. I'm also a garbage human.
Sweet and sour. I have no experience as someone who passes out Halloween candy. I have a lot of experience as someone who is a recipient of Halloween candy. Sweet and sour.
All right, a massive trade in the National Football League. We'll react to that. And Ryan Day reacts to the loss in Eugene over the weekend. We get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is Bob Capacci, owner of Worthington Jewelers. Our fall bridal buy one, get one half off sale is ending this weekend. Select the perfect ring from thousands of styles or create a one-of-a-kind ring of your dreams. Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus. Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy. Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush. Plus, top-of-the-line grills still in stock. Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
It's Thursday Night Football on ESPN Columbus and the Fans HD2. Catch the Broncos and Saints from New Orleans. Live coverage starts Thursday at 8.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, The Fan.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure, not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair and hello to thick, healthy hair with hair volume from New Nordic.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on the weather report. Today we are looking at cloudy skies, a few showers from time to time, high 54. Clear and cold tonight, temperatures dipping down to close to freezing. Heading into your Wednesday, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, highs in the mid-50s. The sunshine is back on Thursday. Temperatures will be rising up to about 62 Thursday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Talking on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
And listen, friends, engagement ring shopping doesn't have to be stressful. Join my friends at Diamond Cellar, their after-hours event. It's in 2 days, October 17th. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to sip some champagne, listen to live music, and snag an exclusive discount on an engagement ring. You know you've been thinking about it. Now is the time to act. And after that, don't stress at all. You're going to have 90 days to make your move. You can save up to $1,000 while enjoying a fun night out while they help you find the perfect ring. Plus, you'll have a chance to win Ohio State football tickets or Blue Jacket tickets in the new Diamond Cellar Club. RSVP at diamondcellar.com/after hours. Diamond Cellar After Hours, October 17th on Sawmill Road. Guys and gals, if you're there, go ahead and peek at the watches, too, for the fellas. You get the engagement ring, the fella gets a watch, everybody wins. They can take care of you on both fronts on that side of things. They've been around 75 years for a reason. Check them out, Diamond Cellar, and that big event in just a couple of days. We did have some breaking news on the NFL side of things. Devontae Adams traded to the Jets, conditional third going back. They're as all in as can be. And you get it. They turned over the keys to the kingdom to Aaron Rodgers. This is what he wants. I do think this changes my answer to the question of will they make the playoffs. That's just too much damn firepower, fellas. That's a lot. Like him and Garrett Wilson, my guess is they find a new home for Mike Williams because Aaron Rodgers is never going to throw him the ball. But and maybe you can recoup something back for that. But that is a ton. They have two good backs. They've got Rodgers, who isn't what he was, but maybe once can be what he was. One game here or there, and there's enough of it. And now he's got not one, but two elite wide receivers. So, yeah, I think at this point at 2-4, juxtaposed to the other teams that are going to be in that mix for that final spot, it's going to be Indy, Denver, assuming Cincinnati gets there. I think they're going to outlast Indy and Denver, for example.
Yeah, I mean, the point is they're not winning the AFC East.
That's okay.
I still think they're cooked. I think this is the last-ditch effort. And I think this is all you can do, right? Like when you lose like the way you did last night to the Buffalo Bills, who are winning the AFC East, then you have to go all in. And this is that all-in move because I think he's owed like $36 million over the next 2 seasons, which doesn't matter because you're worried about what you can do in this window, which, boy, is it close. Life come at you really fast in the NFL.
I think there's 2 seasons now, right? You got this season and next with Rodgers.
With Rodgers? Yeah, that
Rodgers
sounds about right.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of expertise with my Steelers fandom in backdooring your way into the playoffs and not maximizing it. It ain't that worth it. So just simply making the playoffs to make this move, and it's a conditional, what was it, a third or a fourth that could be a second.
That can become a second.
I'll tell you what the condition should be. What it probably is playing time, just assuming health. What it should be is, hey, if we make the playoffs, it'll become a second-round pick. If we don't, we kind of need it. So please take a third. But, you know, I think they're a talented bunch, but this year is, man, 2-4 is a bad start.
Here's the thing, though, Cole. Think about this. Buffalo's in. They're winning the East. Yeah. Ravens and Steelers are in because that's what they do. They win. That's 3. Houston is in. They're 5-1. They could be the number 1 overall seed. That's 4 teams in. Kansas City is in. They're 5-0. That's 5. That leaves the following teams for 2 spots: Jets, Bengals, Colts, Chargers.
Yeah.
2 of them. All they got to do, 2 of those 4 are making it. I'd take Cincinnati over them right now, but I don't think the Colts are sustainable with those injuries. And so it's 17 games. There's a lot left. I like it from their perspective. Like, first of all, it's interesting. Second of all, like, once you're half in, just go all in. And they did it. And so they got 2 years basically to maximize this, and we'll see what happens. But that's a big-time move out of them, and certainly an all-in move. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, they got the Steelers Sunday night, so that game will be in Pittsburgh. It'll be a tough row to hoe if the Jets want to crack the playoffs, but this certainly feels, all right, we've given you everything you could possibly ask for, Aaron. Go and do.
So 2-4,
Except the kicker. You can still ask for that.
Make the kick, Greg Zuerlein.
How did they lose to Denver at home?
Make the kick, buddy.
And Greg Zuerlein was this like hero 6 years ago. Legatron. How many kickers get nicknames?
All right, here's another. So they've lost 3 in a row. The loss to the Broncos is the one that's the most befuddling because In the third quarter of that game, Bo Nix had negative yards passing, and they still lost the game. They lost the Vikings and the Bills. They are at Pittsburgh. That's brutal, obviously. But then they get Patriots at home. Texans is brutal. At Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins, Jaguars. So there's a lot of wins that should happen in there before finishing with the Rams, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So that's the way that it ends for them. But a monster trade in the National. By the way, they look great in those uniforms last night. Those are spectacular.
It was really pretty matchup.
Yeah, that was really cool from both sides of it. All right, we want to get to some Ryan Day stuff. So he was on Roundtable last night. The fellas, this will be his one availability. Well, he'll have two. He'll have the Ryan Day show on Thursday at noon, but he will not have his presser today. By the way, that's customary. I don't know if Ryan had been doing his Tuesday pressers, but during bye weeks during the Urban and Tressel era, they didn't do Tuesday pressers either. So I don't know if Ryan always did them, but in the old days, Tress never did a Tuesday presser after a bye, and I don't think Urban did either. So I think that's kind of normal. I don't know if Ryan does it in previous years or not. I can't recall. I think he did it in the first bye week, didn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
That was week 3.
Yeah, that was a nonsense.
This feels like they're recruiting.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. So he was on Roundtable last night. He was asked by the fellas if there were some plays he wished he could have back. Here's his answer.
The first fumble really early on in the game hurt us. The onside kick there was actually something that we actually practiced this week. He really, did a great job with the execution of it, but obviously wish we had those 2 plays back for sure. Those are big. And then the X plays. I mean, those ones obviously were game-changing plays that we can't let happen.
We played the bite earlier from Dan Lanning where he is grinning like a Cheshire cat talking about the 12 men on the field play at the end of the game. Here's Ryan's answer to how they should have combated that.
In that situation, if you were to see, 12 or 13 guys or whatever, I mean, I guess they could put 20 guys on the field if they wanted to. I guess you would, spike it so that, you save that time and then you just get 5 more yards. When you look back on the play, there were guys open. So, there was still an opportunity to make a play there. We were down there to the 28-yard line, and then took the penalty, which kind of set us off, and then had the clock running, which they really administered very fast and put Will in a tough spot, which was, really fast. But, Will was fighting his tail off all the way to the end. Every time you come out of those situations, you keep working through it. I thought the 2-minute drill was really excellent, all the way until we took that penalty. And we're a little bit of a scramble mode trying to get that thing back into field goal range. You think back on, a lot of things, trust me, I've gone through every single play about 8,000 times in my head.
I'm going to tell you something. If an offensive penalty, you lose the seconds on the clock and are penalized by a yardage standpoint, then a defensive penalty ought to be the same. In other words, my clock should go back to what it was, and I get 5 yards. Otherwise, Lanning could have just done this over and over and over again until they got into field goal range at 5 yards a pop, which Ryan Day and Will Howard said was the 28-yard line. He could have done this, the 43 to the 38, the 38 to the 33. He could have done this 2 more times, and they don't ever get a playoff. So this is a loophole in the rules that needs to get fixed. It's absurd that an offensive penalty, the clock, you lose the clock and the yardage, and a defensive penalty, you just get the yardage but also lose the clock. It's a loophole. Good for Lanning for sorting it out and realizing it and knowing it and being ready to do it and administer it. Tip your cap to him. He outsmarted the system. Great job out of you. But at the same time, they got to get that rule fixed in the offseason. The clock's got to go back to the clock at the start of the snap. It just has to. We'll get some perspective on the Buckeyes and the opening night for the Jackets. Our good buddy Dom Tiberi. He's up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
There's a shocking new government report about the border crisis Sherrod Brown created. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, almost 500,000 convicted criminals have entered our country illegally, including nearly 30,000 found guilty of murder and sexual assault, including rape in their home countries. Now they are spread out across America because of Sherrod Brown's policies. But Sherrod Brown says,
I don't hear a lot about immigration from voters.
That's because Sherrod Brown doesn't listen to voters anymore. And while our safety is being jeopardized, Sherrod Brown is making sure illegals get taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals who get amnesty, Social Security, even COVID relief checks, all paid for by you. 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Would you believe that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people? Or that a single cloud can weigh 550 tons or more? Sounds fake, right? How about an insurance company that actually treats you right? Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. NJM Insurance is proud to put policyholders first. And they don't use jingles or mascots either. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? Everything in this commercial is true and approved by the legal department. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Here's a sure bet for you. The ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is my favorite place in the world. This is Scotty Vegas, and on Sunday, October 20th, we're throwing a huge party at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Come for a live on-the-money broadcast from 9 to 11 a.m. Stay for the Browns-Bengals game. The food's amazing. I love the steak. Dave Biddle loves the pretzels, and the big screen's ridiculous. Join us October 20th, Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER for help.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
Ready to pop the question but not sure where to start? Join us at Diamond Cellar After Hours on October 17th for a night out with a DJ, drinks, and exclusive discounts on engagement rings. With 90 days to redeem your discount, there's no rush to find the one. The ring, that is. When you stop by, you'll have a chance to win Ohio State football tickets or Blue Jackets tickets in the new Diamond Cellar Club. RSVP now at diamondcellar.com/afterhours and save up to $1,000 on qualifying purchases. See you October 17th at Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And when it comes to fall, we often think of those cooler temperatures, the trees changing colors, the bonfires in the evening, and of course, football season. We less often think of those home projects that we've been neglecting or failed to finish up before those harsh Ohio winter hits. If you need to have your roof inspected or it's on your to-do list, you can ensure that Newman Roofing will get you ready for those harsh winter storms. The team over at Newman has you covered, and they're family owned and locally operated right here in Central Ohio since 1992. The 3 generations that have been in the roofing industry, they have the expertise to handle any issue you may be facing with your roof. Folks, they took care of my roof. They did a fantastic job. They're the experts, and they will give you the white glove treatment, because when your name is on it, it just means more. So if you need your roof repaired or replaced this fall, call the company you can trust. That's Newman Roofing at newmanroofing.com or 614-NEW-ROOF.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Sponsored by Sears Heating and Cooling. Family owned since 1950.
All right, it's that time. A visit with our good buddy Uncle Dom on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. When you make a, you do like a spaghetti and meat sauce or something like that. What is your breakdown of meat in terms of percentages? Are you all pork? Are you Italian sausage? You go hot? You go mild? What do you do?
A third of each: veal, pork, and beef.
Veal, pork, and beef.
Oh, you go 130.
Like ground veal, ground pork, ground beef. Yep. And then four eggs. So here, if you want to make my meatballs,
I'm right. I got notes. Go. I got notes.
All right. So a pound of veal ground, a pound of burger ground, and a pound of pork. Just regular old. You can buy just ground pork.
Sure.
3 pounds, 4 eggs, garlic, salt, pepper, parsley, and you put as much garlic as you like. I like a little bit of garlic. And then breadcrumbs, and then you mix it all up. And the old school way to do it is to fry them in olive oil until they're seared, and then throw them in the sauce, let them cook. But when I make them, I make a couple hundred meatballs at a time.
Yeah.
And so I cook them on the cookie sheet, just put them in the oven for a little bit, and then drop them in the sauce to go the rest of the way. Now, if you want, and depending on how soft I like a firm meatball, but some people like them a little, you can add more breadcrumb, more egg. Yeah, I like them a little rigid. But the veal, pork, the veal's the game changer. Pork, those three. That's the trinity of a meatball right there. And then you can use them for the same thing to make your meat sauce. That mixture.
What you had Italian Fest last weekend?
Oh, it was crazy.
What was was there one dish or dessert or something that you had that you went, wow, that's it?
Well, I love Cousin Vinny's pizza, the pizza they make. Yep. And then, you know what? And they listen. They're regulars. They listen to you. The Carfagna Boys Italian sausage. The festival sausage. Oh, my gosh.
Come on.
Oh, with the peppers and onions.
They're my guys.
Our boy Dane Sanzenbacher. I got to tell you this funny story.
Yeah.
And Adam King, too. I've gotten them Italian sausages. So I was at the sales, and they serve Carfagna sausage on the grill.
Come on.
And, they're also cooking burgers and stuff. Oh, yeah. The sales has got the greatest concession stand. Anyways, they make the Carfagna sausage. So I said, hey, Dane, have you ever had a Carfagna? Let me get you one. So I got him one. And I didn't know what, they got all the stuff. They got the peppers and onions and all that, which is the traditional. And there's some good old boys, making the sausages. Yeah. And they yell over me, Dom, what the heck is wrong with this guy? I go, what do you mean? He said he just put mustard and pickles on his Carfagna sausage.
Oh, gosh. You thought he was having a brat.
Yeah, you don't do that. It's
a hot dog.
Maybe peppers. You could eat it plain, peppers. Our boy Adam King put sauerkraut on it.
Well, so he's doing the brat thing. Yeah, he's doing you can't do that. No, come on, Ed.
No, it's not for Italian sausage, No.
I like the peppers and the onions, and if you got a little bit of red sauce, I like a little bit of red.
You can put some marinara on there. Yeah, a little bit.
I like a little bit of that.
I like to get a good bun and steam it, and then put butter on the bun, and then put the sausage on it. It's delicious.
Come on, it's a delight. Yeah. Hey, what are we going to do here with this Buckeye football team in terms of being able to win these type of games, buddy? Because we've got a little trend here that probably needs to change directions if this team's going to accomplish everything it wants to accomplish this year.
Well, they played well enough on offense to win the game. Yeah. I mean, you score 31 points in a hostile place. I thought they would win the game 35-20. I was a little surprised with, as they call it, we've heard a lot over the last few years about explosive plays.
Yeah.
We saw some explosive plays. I don't know if they saw something with Denzel or whatever, but, obviously you can't let them, stretch the field they were with the long passes. I thought from a whole defensive standpoint, I don't think the tackling was as good as it needed to be. Clearly it wasn't very good. Too many missed tackles, too many arm tackles, and, guys getting too many yards after catch. And I was really Bo, I was really surprised with the defensive performance. And, I think these things are correctable, but, that's a big step in the right direction. If they're not scoring and if they're not, if they're not running up and down the field, that's a huge direction in fixing what needs fixed to win these ball games. If you look at some of the games that they've lost in these tight ones, I would argue they've scored enough points, but defensively we've seen letdowns.
I had Tyvis on with me yesterday, and we were talking about you and I and those guys in 14 and 15. And when Oregon walked in, I remember I was sitting there next to you, and I said, "Oh, it's in the bag. They don't have the size. They're not big enough. They're not strong enough." That the national championship was won when they beat Alabama. Oregon has spent the last 10 years changing that. They came in here and they bullied us. And here's the thing. They have the same type of talent Ohio State does. They do. Yeah. Their quarterback's a stud. Their receivers are stud. Don, they were without their best defensive player.
Well, let me just say this, and I know the fans don't want to hear this. And the narrative leading up to this season, the best team money can buy and all that. You know what? Let me tell you something. You don't know until it comes to game time. You don't know what injuries are going to do, and injuries are a lot of the great equalizers in a lot of situations. And Ohio State's got some issues now from the injury department, especially with the offensive line. But let me just say this. As you look at the landscape of college football this year, it has absolutely been chaos. There have been upset specials every weekend.
Yeah.
And Ohio State has, done fine up until this point. But I don't know that there's going to be an undefeated team this year. And I think that, if you look at what lies ahead for Ohio State this second half of the season, Penn State worries me. The thing is, Ohio State's not the only team that's partaking in NIL, that's partaking in the transfer portal, and teams are getting better. My goodness, look what Indiana's been able to do.
Yeah.
And, ask Alabama if they can lose to a Vanderbilt. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, ask Tennessee if they can lose. I mean, every weekend, it's been chaos. Yeah. And so the parity in college football is at the greatest I've ever seen, Bo. It's insane. And I think that the money with the NIL and the portal and all this stuff, I think it's had a great effect in helping teams get real good real quick. And on any given day, it's a cliche, but I think today more than ever, you could get beat. You could get beat. And I don't know. I think the expectations at Ohio State are always unrealistic. But, this year more than ever because of the narrative that best team money can buy, and they've got this. They brought 7 guys in the transfer portal. I don't know. We think that what they're paying is somewhere in excess of 20 whatever million.
Whatever. Yeah.
But that's. I got news for you. That's the cost of doing business today. Ohio State's not the only team. These teams are all doing things to get themselves better. And so if people wondered what was going to be the fallout from all this, well, you're seeing it. And you're right. You said something on the air the other day that people said, well, with now the 12-team playoff, all these regular season games aren't going to matter. The football's gotten better because these schools have all gotten better because they all of a sudden the money that these schools are bringing in, they're bringing players in. Ohio State's not the only team that's giving out scholarships. They're not the only team that's giving out NIL deals and getting kids to come via the trans. You can only bring so many in. Ohio State brought in 7. And what have all these other schools done?
Yeah. Going to be everything's still in front of them.
Chaos.
Everything's still in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to take care of business.
All right, buddy.
It's not going to be easy at Penn State. I mean, I'm telling you, everyone thinks, they'll just beat the heck out of the Nittany Lions. They can't. Well, they showed me a lot when they pulled that game up.
Yeah, they did. A lot of guts. Good talking to you, brother.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, that's the great Dom Tiberi. Tuesdays with Tiberi on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Columbus, the most wonderful time of the year, is finally here because Blue Jackets hockey is back. See it all and make new memories all season long. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com.
It's October, baby!
It's October at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of October, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Hey, it's Shark Carp and Beam here from Morning Juice. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win, Beam. Absolutely. But again, my friend, that is for new customers only. You're an old one.
Well, Alvin Kamara over on rushing yards. Bo Nix, he's looking all right. Some people even call him Ferris Bueller. 1.5 passing touchdowns. How about Rashid Shaheed? He likes the deep bomb. No Derek Carr. Maybe problems for them, actually. Just visit FanDuel.com/juice. Make every moment more this season, Bob. I know you love it.
Absolutely. TNF. That sounds like a good time to me, Shark.
Yeah, stands for Thursday Night Football, Bob.
FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and older in present Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Ohio Basement Authority comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure, not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, so in case you missed it this morning, the New York Jets acquired wide receiver Davante Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a conditional third-round pick in this upcoming NFL draft. Gang Green also has to take on Davante's salary for the next couple of seasons. We have the conditions.
Go ahead.
It can become a second-round pick if or when Adams must be first or second-team All-Pro.
Oh.
Adams must be on the active roster for the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Thing or not a thing?
The compensation is not a thing. It's going to be a 3, is what it's going to be. They're not going to be in the AFC Championship game. They're not going to be in the Super Bowl. For him to be first or second team All-Pro, he would really have to hum. I'm trying to... Wanted to see, is this the third week he's missed? Adams, he missed.
That
3
sounds
weeks
about right. Because he missed the Browns game with the hamstring.
Right. So it's is it? Do we have that right? We feel like it's the third game he's missed. If that's the case, then the first and second team All Pros are not going to be any sort of thing to worry about. So it's just going to be a third-round pick, and that's it. It's a huge deal from the Jets in terms of all-in, in terms of their full bet on Aaron Rodgers. The compensation doesn't scare me at all. If you're the Jets, they don't care about that. They're trying to maximize what is now, I think, a 2-year window with Rodgers. And he will help a very big deal in that regard. He is dynamic. Here's a reminder, folks, of just what he has been. For example, last season, with who were they even playing at quarterback last year? I mean, is that like Aiden O'Connell and all of those cats? Like, I don't even remember who quarterbacked them last year. I know Carr started the year, didn't he? Or maybe he didn't. I can't even remember. Last year, he caught 103 balls for 1144 and 8 scores.
Oh, it was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, yeah. It was, a little bit of Jimmy, but then he got hurt, too.
And Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah. So, 2022, when he had Derek Carr, that's 2 years ago, it's 100 catches for 15, 16, and 14 touchdowns. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. So, yes, this helps him. I do think it'll push him over in the playoffs if everybody else can stay healthy. I like the deal from their perspective and from a Jets fan perspective, and I like the compensation.
I'm going to say not a thing because I'm in a bad mood about teams who make the playoffs and then go nowhere in the playoffs. See the team that the Jets play this week.
Yeah, there's also a Brian Hoyer in the mix for the Raiders last season.
Oh.
We had talked earlier in the show because now Gang Green's attention turns to Hassan Reddick and get a deal done for him. Well, apparently they've allowed his new representation, Drew Rosenhaus, to seek a trade. Many thinking, and Bo made this point earlier, that it could be the Detroit Lions who lost Aiden Hutchinson on Sunday. He got surgery late Sunday night to repair a fractured tibia and fibula. Lions head coach Dan Campbell anticipates a 4 to 6 month recovery process, but Campbell refuses to call it a season-ending injury, saying, quote, "I would never count Hutch out, ever. So probably a long road, but I would never count him out, and I would say if anybody can make it back, it'd be him," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
It's a huge thing for the Lions that he suffered this season-ending injury. He's a Defensive Player of the Year contender, so they lost the best player of their defense. That is huge. It is not a thing that Dan Campbell said, I wouldn't count him out. I love Dan Campbell. Everybody does. But, I don't know. 4 to 6 months is what it is. This reminds me a little bit of Rodgers last year with the Achilles. Oh, yeah, I think he can come back. What are we doing? No. This is a massive surgery that he had happen. I just see no scenario where he would come back or you'd rush it. He's such a young player. You wouldn't do any of those things. So I'm going to say that part of it is not a thing. The loss of Aiden Hutchinson is an enormous thing, which is why I connected the dots with Reddick.
I agree with every syllable that you just uttered. I think it's a huge thing that he got hurt. I don't think I need to explain that one, but man, that was a UFC type of leg injury that he just had.
Awful.
There is no way you can convince me that he's going to be playing football again. I do think the Lions will last a long time, so I will give Dan Campbell a little bit of leeway there. So I think they're going to be hanging around in the postseason for a long time, but no, I absolutely cannot believe that he's going to be on the field. So his comments, not a thing.
Utah quarterback Cam Rising's out for the season with a lower leg injury. Kyle Whittingham said Monday Isaac Wilson's going to be the Utes starter, that true freshman there, till further notice. Rising was injured in Utah's 27-19 loss to Arizona this past Friday. He's already missed 3 games this season because of an injury to his throwing hand. He sat out all of last season after suffering a knee injury in the 2023 Rose Bowl. Whittingham also said an 8th season for Rising may be considered if he decides to seek a medical waiver after this year. Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to say not a thing. And I mean, it's a thing for Utah. My thinking here would be you have a conversation with Cam Rising. You say, look, dude, like this just ain't going to happen. And I understand why Cam Rising would want to still be able to do it because, look, he's probably making a decent amount of money on NIL. But this is ridiculous. An 8th year of college football? I mean, just think about that. I mean, that would put him in the 2016 or 17. I think he originally signed with Texas. I think at this point you just say, look, dude, it's not enough. And I do think that Kyle Whittingham and Utah need to move on and build their program anew and not go for an 8th year. So maybe he plays an 8th year somewhere else. But also I think you have to have a real conversation with the kid and just say, look, dude, you're 25 years old now. And you've played 7 seasons of college football. It's just not happening, man.
Yeah, Isaac Wilson was a pretty decent recruit for them at quarterback. Reese, who's his brother?
I mean, Zach Wilson.
That's exactly who his brother is. So you're playing him as a true freshman. If he's going to be playing the rest of the year, you got to assume there's going to be some growth. Just develop him next year, so that way junior year he'll be a 3rd-year starter. Cam Rising's going nowhere, so not a thing. I think that is going to be beneficial for the Utes to probably stick with the guy who's going to be their long-term starter moving forward.
Just real quick, NFL Network's Tom Pelissaro reported the Chargers are going to be signing veteran cornerback Eli Apple. Apple's going to start out on the practice squad. His agent confirmed the move. The 29-year-old defensive back spent last season with the Miami Dolphins. Thing or not a thing?
Harbaugh likes them Buckeyes.
It's like
JK
collecting a bunch of them out there.
Eli, and yeah, he's got a lot of them out there. Not a thing in terms of, in terms of what it's going to do for them. By the way, I believe we had that Harbaugh would have the impact he's had. He's a really good coach. Just is. Just flips things around pretty quickly.
Not a thing, but maybe some people around here will get a kick out of just seeing his name.
All right, a little NFL Blitz coming up next, and it's opening night at Nationwide. A little bit of Shelly time at 11:33. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Looking for a trusted heating and cooling company? James Laurinaitis here for Custom Air. When I come home from a football game, I know that I'm walking into comfort. That's because Custom Air is on my team. When Custom Air does my semi-annual maintenance checkup, I trust them to spot any issues early on, so it'll save me money down the road. Don't let your HVAC call for a timeout this season. Tackle fall and winter like a pro. Go to customairco.com and schedule your maintenance today. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea?
Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it. But there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. After losing on Monday Night Football, the New York Jets made a deal Tuesday to acquire receiver Devontae Adams from the Raiders in exchange for a conditional third-round pick. Gang Green also agrees to pay the remainder of his salary, which is $36 million over the next 2 seasons each. The Jets are 2-4 and will play in Pittsburgh Sunday night against the Steelers. At Nationwide Arena tonight, the Blue Jackets host the Florida Panthers in their home opener. Tuesday's face-off is set for 7:13 in honor of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, who lost their lives in late August. The Jackets are 1-1 through 2 games and back on home ice Thursday against Buffalo. In baseball Tuesday, the Guardians battle the Yankees in Game 2 of the ALCS. First pitch from the Bronx is 7:38. Tanner Bybee will oppose Garrett Cole. Game 3 is going to be in Cleveland on Wednesday. This update is sponsored by Dormar Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an emergency repair? Dormar can be there today, guaranteed. Visit them at dormarheating.com.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
If you're just joining us, massive trade in the NFL. Devontae Adams going from the Raiders to the Jets. And I think that is as all in as an NFL team has been. Everything that the Jets have done for the last couple of weeks. You got the home opener at Nationwide tonight, which is going to be packed with all sorts of emotion with the Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau tributes. Their family there. We'll have Shelly time coming up at 11:33 on that. Time to blitz the NFL. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present NFL Blitz.
All right, boys. I believe I had that. Cole, what'd you have?
I believe I had that A.J. Brown is a top 3 receiver in the National Football League. He's missed a few games due to injury, came back, 6 catches, 116 and a touchdown. I'm a huge fan of A.J. Brown. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I love CeeDee Lamb, but he's not in my top 3. A.J. Brown's at number 3.
How about AJ being able, his hand strength has got to be next level, because MJ wasn't terrible in the one coverage on the touchdown. Actually got a hand in there, and with one hand he kind of kept him off of it. He's exceptional. Go ahead, Reese. What'd you have?
We had a great many things. As against the house, Bo, you were 10-4. I was 9-5. I believe I had Cleveland plus the 9.5. It was a heart pick. I said the Browns, they're going to lose to the Eagles, but they're not going to get beat by 10 points.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, so many people are like at DEFCON 1 with the Browns. I think this is actually the best they've played in a month.
You take the little victories, damn it. You have to.
I don't know. If you looked at the schedule before the year, Philly coming off a bye, they never lost. Like, I don't know. It felt like one where they would play well, and they did. They didn't win, obviously, but they covered. So, like, to me, the far bigger problems are what had happened before with them in the Raiders game and in the Giants game. Those are the ones, and the total giving up in Washington. But what happened in Philly was kind of the way you saw it. The other thing I believe I had this in the preseason, I continue to have it now, despite a bunch of injuries. A lot of teams are battered. Jim Harbaugh can coach. It just is a fact. He just is a culture tornado. He comes in, he fixes things, and he's done so with the Chargers. They've got a lot of injuries. They're playing incredibly pessimistic offensively in terms of giving Herbert much to do. So if you had him in fantasy, that's a big mistake. But they're winning games, and they won again this weekend. I thought they would go there and win, and they did.
He's got to wear a heart monitor?
Yeah, how about that?
That's nuts.
He's crazy, man. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, he had a great quote on that. What does he say? Like, now I'm 2-0 with a AFib or whatever?
2-0 with the AFib.
Jeez. What a lunatic.
Good on you, Coach.
I did not have that, Cole. What did you not have?
I did not have that Drake May's debut as a starter was not an entire disaster. I kind of thought it would be. I was really concerned when he didn't get the starting job over Jacoby Brissett out of the season. And then they weren't very competitive in the game. He didn't have to be. He wasn't great, didn't have to be. I thought he showed enough signs of like, all right, there's something there. And I kind of thought that it would be a whole-ass failure.
How about the fact, by the way, gentlemen, that Drake May has dated the same girl since he was 12? Did you know that?
Wow.
No. Imagine that?
No.
Yeah. Same girl since he was 12.
Through high school, through college.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Big man on campus in North Carolina, same girl, whole time. God bless. What didn't you have, Reese?
I didn't have Nick Sirianni being a casual Eagles Redditor. I don't know if you saw, after he was caught jawing with Eagles fans, and then he used his kids as a shield during the press conference.
Right.
Someone went on Reddit and said, oh, I was the fan that he was jawing at, and I was just telling him to run the ball, and after the game, he just told me, see, we did. It's all love here in Philadelphia, where despite like what everybody else is saying, even what he said during the press conference, like, we had some problems there.
Yes, they do. I did not have Jacksonville being in this spot. I did not. I thought that maybe they had found something and they would appoint themselves well overseas. You got our boy Doug in post, Doug Peterson saying post game, we've got a culture problem. Brother, you're in charge of the culture. It's on you. Trevor Lawrence was as sure of a thing as you're going to find in the draft, probably since Luck, and it just has not materialized at all. And the dysfunction of that franchise is very, very real. Player who impressed you the most this weekend, Cole, who do you got?
I've written off this dude's career like 3 different times, and I just continue to be wrong. But Derrick Henry, 24 carries for 132 and 2 touchdowns, and that's piggybacking off of a 92-yard performance, which was piggybacking off of 199 and 151 before that. I don't trust running backs at all, especially not with health. And with him being a power back, I don't know how that translates to age. So I thought when he got injured a few years ago, that was kind of it. But nope, not at all.
Caleb Williams is getting better, guys. Like they might have that figured out with the Chicago Bears. Like he had 4 touchdowns in London, so I guess take the factor in the exchange rate there. But he's playing better each week.
Yeah, he was mine too, and it actually started in a loss. They've won 3 straight games, but it was the loss to Indy. They lost 21-16 at Indy, but he threw for 300 in the game. So then you start to say to yourself, okay, he is now completing 65% of his passes, but his last few games is when it's really been incredible. So in the Indy game, it's 63.5, 363, a couple of scores, a couple of picks. They get the win against the Rams. He's 17-23. That's 73%, a touchdown, no picks. Then they beat Carolina. He's 20-29, 304, 70%, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then in the Jacksonville game where they beat him pretty bad, 23-29 for 80%, 4 touchdowns, and just the 1 pick. His quarterback rating has been over 100 the last 3 games. It was over 80 in the loss. You're right. He's flipped it. It's pretty impressive as well, and he's kind of becoming the guy maybe you thought he was going to be. Player who disappointed. Who do you got, Cole?
I've defended this guy a lot just because I think he's an easy target because of the team that he plays for, but holy cow, was Dak Prescott bad this weekend. I got 17-33, no touchdowns, 2 picks, and just to pile on, he got sacked 4 times. I'm just going to say that he held the ball too long on all 4 of those. It's all his fault.
Yeah, I had Dak Prescott. I'm going to also shout out to Greg Newsome for giving up on a play that everybody saw you give up on. Like, boy, they're just not playing with a lot of passion outside of 95.
Yeah, it'd be easy to pick on anyone, honestly, with the Browns, including Amari, who dropped another pass in the offensive line, and Watson, but that's just kind of become normal here. Just to not repeat, because I was going to go Dak on this one as well, but to not repeat, I'm going to go Kyler Murray in Arizona. If you look at him statistically, it's not bad. It's 22 of 32, 214, and a touchdown, but they were beaten bad from Jump Street. They're down 24 to end at half and really gave no pushback as the game went on, and then Marv went down with an injury. I keep saying they're frisky, but at some point you got to be a little friskier than that. So I'll go Arizona and Kyler Murray on that side of things. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got?
I'm going to give it to the Eber. Oh, sorry.
Hello. Hey, the Buccaneers offensive line coach, Kevin Carberry, 277 yards on the ground, only allowed 1 sack. The Buccaneers put up over 50 points. And just to drive home my point that every single coach somehow has a tie to the state of Ohio, he's a Bobcat.
There you go.
Go Bobcats. I'm going to give it to Matt Eberflus. Caleb Williams is playing better. It's like your one job, man. You draft a quarterback number 1 overall. He's got to show improvement week to week. So far, so good. Oh, and they're 4-2.
I'm going to go Dan Lanning here. Not for beating Dallas. Not sorry. Boy, it's on my head. Dan Campbell.
He's in everybody's heads. That damn Dan Lanning. Smirking out there in Oregon.
He is smirking. Oh, Dan Campbell. Boy, there's a Freudian slip. Dan Campbell, not just for the win against Dallas over the weekend, but also the fact that he's throwing thick sixes up 60 and just burying the Cowboys, which is a delight. That goes back to, I have to believe, the way he played the second half of that game against Dallas, to the fact that he was a player for the Cowboys when Sean Payton was there. Sean Payton holds a grudge against the Cowboys, and then he brought Campbell up. So anytime they have a chance to whip Dallas, they do, and he did in a big way. And I just like, in an era where everybody's trying to be smarter than everybody else, and Dan is really, really bright, but he also is... He's right off the street in terms of, like, speaks directly to his players. He had great stuff on Hutchinson, great stuff. I'm blanking on the David Montgomery as well in terms of what he means. I just think he's really likable and so easy to play for. I like everything they're doing in Detroit right now. Top 3 teams. Who do you got, Cole?
The Commanders are out. I will usher in the Lions, and they will trail 2 teams who are on the bye. So we got Vikings, number 1, then the Chiefs, then the Lions.
I got Chiefs, Bills, Vikings right now.
Ooh.
So I took the bye teams out of it, and just based on what we saw this weekend. So I think number 1 is Houston. They're 5-1. They're burying people now. They seem to have that rolling a little bit. Obviously, interesting to see what happens with Nico Collins out for a minute. How did that continue when they play a much stiffer test than they played against New England? I think Detroit is clearly the best team in the NFC. The NFC North, by the way, is bonkers. Everybody's 4-2 or better. So that division is nuts. And you could have a situation where all 4 of them make the postseason. It's definitely in play. Basically, it's going to come down to the bottom team in the NFC North versus either the Bucks or Falcons. The 4th team in the NFC North, or the Bucks or Falcons, is going to get the last spot. So possible all 4 teams could get in. And I think, honestly, the most terrifying team right now that I would not want to play on a week-to-week basis is Baltimore. I think they're terrifying. I think... defensively, I mean, they have a whole new regime defensively in terms of coaching and everything. They lost a key player at every level on their defense, and their defense has been fine. It's getting better each week. But offensively, to prepare for them on a one-off basis, and you got to deal with Lamar and Derrick. Derrick Henry has 700 yards rushing in 6 games, guys. It's working in a big way. Super Bowl right now. Who do you got, Cole?
Yeah, and good news, if you're listening to this radio show, you play the Ravens twice this year. I got Chiefs and Lions. Chiefs over Lions, in fact.
I got Chiefs and earmuffs, Anthony Rothman. Chiefs and Vikings.
Oh, jeez.
This is the week that he declares whether or not they're for real. He said if they beat the Jets in England and if they beat the Vikings, I'm sorry, if they beat the Lions this week, then he'll be a full-time believer.
So he's got the Vikings play the Lions this week?
Yes.
It would be the ultimate move for him to be like, well, they beat the Lions without Aiden Hutchinson, so I don't know if I'm ready to go just there yet.
People don't give Viking fans enough credit, including AR, for this. There's a lot of scar tissue. Because they've been largely good, unlike for example, the Browns, there isn't. People don't, or the Lions, for example, you don't feel as bad about it. No, a lot of scar tissue for the Vikings. I'm going to go Detroit and Baltimore, gentlemen, is going to be my Super Bowl right now. Speaking of the AFC North, we will take a look at it. The roadmaps for these teams going forward, both the Bengals and Steelers got wins, but are they heading in different directions? That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
There's a shocking new government report about the border crisis Sherrod Brown created. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, almost 500,000 convicted criminals have entered our country illegally, including nearly 30,000 found guilty of murder and sexual assault, including rape in their home countries. Now they are spread out across America because of Sherrod Brown's policies. But Sherrod Brown says,
I don't hear a lot about immigration from voters.
That's because Sherrod Brown doesn't listen to voters anymore. And while our safety is being jeopardized, Sherrod Brown is making sure illegals get taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals who get amnesty, Social Security, even COVID relief checks, all paid for by you. 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
High Bank Distillery is giving away free burgers for a year. Stop by any of High Bank's 3 locations October 14th through the 19th and try their $8 burgers. Upload your burger pic to social media, tag High Bank for a chance to win. Visit highbankco.com/battle for more details.
Does your vehicle need maintenance, but you don't have time? Krieger Ford's got you covered. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or we come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
First down! Yes! Oh, what? Just cleared that drain last week.
Well, clearly that didn't work. Would you please just call the waterworks?
At the Waterworks, we mean clean. We'll get your drains good as new on the first down. And as for him, well, there's always the Buckeyes. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
Rockman and Ice.
It's like when you go, if you were to buy the Willy Wonka factory, you're not taking all the W's down. I got nothing but chocolate, sexual chocolate going on.
Rockman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Shop low prices and great deals all week long at Meijer. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more on hundreds of items across the store, like General Mills cereal, Swanson broth, and 12 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products. Plus, shop our huge selection of Halloween items for spooky good savings. Get 25% off Halloween costumes and buy 2, get 1 free Halloween snack or jumbo-sized candy. Exclusions apply. See all deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Hear that? That's the sound of Bernie Moreno shredding evidence to avoid paying his employees. You see, Moreno refused to pay his employees the overtime pay they earn, so they sued him. And after a court ordered Moreno to keep the evidence of his wage theft, what did he do? That's right, he shredded it. Moreno even admitted to shredding evidence in court. He was found liable for wage theft, and a court forced him to pay over $400,000. Innocent people don't shred evidence. And now that Bernie Moreno is running for Senate, he doesn't want to talk about how he was caught ripping off his employees. And that begs the question, do you want a guy like that representing you in the Senate? Bernie Moreno, you can't trust him to be for you. The United Association of Plumbers and Pipefitters paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. UA.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Low energy, brain fog, or bloating? Your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A 10 weather impact day has been issued for tonight, as we do have freeze warnings in effect. Freeze warnings are also issued for tomorrow night heading into Thursday morning, as we are expecting some very cold air. We will be looking at temperatures in the mid-50s today with a few showers out there. Tonight, 35 in the metro area, but outside the metro area, we get down to below freezing. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
And friends, when you're dealing with the issues of erectile dysfunction, you want to make sure that you have the right treatment for your specific medical situation. Every case is going to be different, and finding the right treatment can be the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one. And if you're suffering from this, you know this. Erectile dysfunction can be an intimacy destroyer. Research shows that men draw apart from their partners when ED affects the sex life. The condition causes stress, anxiety, depression. Even worse, a man's partner can blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. And that's where my friends at Tri-State Men's Health come in. They have treatments that work where the pills and herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. Do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town today. Initial visit's $99. That includes a medical consult, licensed medical provider, TNPSA test, if medically advised a test dose. Now, if the test dose doesn't work, the office visit is free. It is a no-lose win-win for you. So give them a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit tristatemenshealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and near Medical Mile in Westerville. Reese, you just posted your scores on the NFL. You mentioned I was 10-4, so finally a winning week for me. No surprise for you, as you've done it now every week, as you went 9-5. You are a robust, and I do mean robust, early start of this season. 55-37 over 500. I am not asking you to give away your secrets.
Oh, I can't.
But have you changed your picking model from a year ago?
No. That new mattress is coming today, by the way. I got to put more money in that thing.
You're just killing it, man.
The other one's just too full.
Just killing it.
Yeah. You know, and if you ask me if I changed it in 3 years, no.
No.
It's been the same.
Same
process. So I think that would tell you about the NFL season more so than my picking.
It also tells you how hard, and this is a tough league to sort out. You've got a feel for it right now. I had a really tough time the first month. I got back on track this week. I have no belief that it's going to continue this week. It's a tough league to figure out. And I think the same can be true of our friends in the desert in terms of these lines. Like, they're having a hard time too. And there's no better example of this than in the AFC North, where as we look at it here through 6 games, all of the teams have played 6. Baltimore and Pittsburgh both sit there at 4-2, and over the last 20 years, they've mostly been the teams at the top of the division. Cincinnati 2-4 with the win against the Giants, and Cleveland, who we've talked about a lot today, is 1-5. Speaking of, if you want the real truth on what is happening on the Browns offense, I encourage you to listen to our interview with Sam Monson. Find it. I know we put it all over the socials. Listen to the podcast, wherever you get that. You want the real truth on what is happening offensively for the Browns, it is there. He put it out there. We had a very in-depth interview with him, and I encourage you to have a listen to that. From the Bengals side of things, I thought this was a monster win for them because of the way that they won. This was winning without Burrow and Chase and up and down the field and scoring 30 points, something that they had done in many of the losses. This was the defense, albeit against the Giants, making the plays that they had to make in order to get a win that they had to have. This team is too damn good to drop to 1-5. They didn't. They got a win. Burrow, post-game, huge victory. You bet.
Yeah, we really needed it. You know, I don't want to say we would have been out of it if we had lost, but we'd be scratching and clawing for the rest of the year. We still really are, but it was good to get a win. Great to see our defense step up like that. They've taken some heat the last couple of weeks, but they played awesome today.
And Burrow's head coach, Zach Taylor, in terms of a win that kind of checked all 3 phases, all 3 boxes.
It was good to see our defense play the way from start to finish.
offensively had some positive moments but to continue to build off of. I think special teams had some big moments as well. And so, it's hard in this league to have a game where you come out in all three phases feeling like, man, we really got them in all three phases because we're playing some good teams. But obviously there's more as a team we can give. But again, pleased with the environment we went into, found a way to win in the fourth quarter, did some positive things there, build off of that going into the division game this week.
All right, 2-4 is Cincinnati. They are at Cleveland on Sunday in, quite honestly, what will be the angriest home field in the National Football League and maybe anywhere where football is played this weekend. It's going to be brutal. The only thing that could save it is if Nick Chubb Nick will be active. They haven't announced it yet, but he will be active. I have no idea if he'll carry the ball. No sense of what that will look like. I know that as of last week, he was towards the back of the line in all the receiver or the running back drills. I would think that would still be that way this week. Nick is just way too valuable to put him out there until he's all the way ready. But I do think he'll play this year, and so I think he'll have to be active. I know he has to be active this week, and I think he will be. In terms of the Bengals, Wolfman Matt with this, using DVOA regarding the Bengals' remaining schedule, it ranks 32nd the rest of the way. So, yeah, I think they get one of the spots. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, I just think you can, look at your DVOA, and I'll look at your 1-5 against the Cleveland Browns. So let's not look too far down the road here. Let's focus on what you've got to do Sunday in Cleveland, Matt.
Here is the Bengals' schedule as they sit here at 1-4. Remember, we always circled that bye week, which comes on November 24th. So they're at Cleveland this week. Then Philly at home, Raiders at home. I like Cincinnati's chances in all three of those games. So all of a sudden, now you're talking, right? Now you're talking about being 5-4. They're at Ravens, which will be very difficult, and then they're at Chargers, which will be ultra difficult. Then it's Steelers at home, difficult, at Cowboys, at Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers. So you can count 5 or 6 should be gimmies in there for them. And that's how you have the confidence as a Bengals fan is that they can and will dig themselves out of it. And I think that they probably will.
I mean, just even some of the losses that they've had, they've been last-second field goals, botched snaps. It's been a thing where these are so correctable, and I get that confidence because of number 9.
Yes.
So it makes it work.
Yeah. That's why I think it was so big that they kind of won a different way against the Giants. Like, it was their defense that stood up and stood firm. The Pittsburgh Steelers continue to win. They continue to win with defense primarily. Early on this season, it was Justin Fields being incredibly efficient in the pass game. That slipped a little bit. Asked Sam about that when he was on with us earlier in the show, and he kind of illustrated that as well. Russell Wilson is active. He is ready to go should he be called upon. But Fields is winning too, so it's a tough spot. He ran 2 in for the game, ran 2 touchdowns in the game against the Raiders over the weekend. Tomlin was asked yesterday to make sense of what he saw from Fields' performance. Here's what he had to say.
I thought he did a nice job, particularly making some things happen with his legs, managing the circumstances and taking care of the ball. Obviously, he took a few hits, but he's a tough guy. I'm glad he's okay, and we'll keep moving.
Cole, this is your team of record. They are 4-2. That snapped a 2-game losing streak. Their next couple of games, they have the Jets at home, obviously, on Sunday Night Football, which is going to be nuts. Then they get the Giants the following Monday on Monday Night Football at home. So the next 2 are in prime time at home, so lots of Renegade. And then they're at the Commanders. That is the next 3 for them. What are you seeing from Fields in terms of short-term and long-term?
Definitely not long-term. And when you say long-term, I think like beyond this year. I think this is still a rental. I was actually trying to come up with this yesterday. I was like, who right now, which fan base in the NFL, if I told you Justin Fields is your week 1 starter next season for 2025, who would be excited about that? And then T-Bone walked over and said, Browns fans.
Browns fans?
Yeah, Browns. Yeah. Okay, but I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe, perhaps with the whole contract situation with Deshaun, but I think a lot of people would rather have either the quarterback they already have because they're better than Justin Fields, or I think that they would rather draft a quarterback. I don't think Justin Fields is inspiring enough people right now, perhaps outside of Pittsburgh. But for me, he's doing enough. He's fine. He's fine. He's not somebody who you're tremendously excited about. He's good enough to play winning football. But if he doesn't have an incredible defense with T.J. Watt, who's one of the best defensive players of his generation there, forcing 2 fumbles yesterday. I mean, the 14 of whatever performance that he had throwing the ball, I think it was like 14 to 24 or something like that.
14 to 24, yeah.
For 145 yards passing.
Yeah.
I'm just not that inspired by it. I was down on this team, and I just don't get caught up in the small stuff like this. Because you mentioned the schedule upcoming. When that divisional schedule hits, when it goes Browns, Bengals, Browns, and that's after the Ravens, man, I think it's going to pick up, and we're going to find some tough spots in this schedule, and it's going to be pretty contentious. And I'm still holding on to my opinion that Russell Wilson's going to be in there at some point, just because the Steelers have done this quarterback carousel multiple times within the past few years. I've seen it too many times. There's no way it's not happening this year.
It's a big decision for them. Fields is 25. If there are things that they like that they can build around, I think that they're kind of fighting 2 paths on that. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. And 2 big weekends in primetime back-to-back. Big night tonight at Nationwide. The home opener, Shelly time, coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. I know you talked right after the game Saturday. Lots of season left for the football team, and I'm sure everybody's anxious to get right back to work.
Yeah, we're going to really, go to work during this bye week and, identify the things that we need to do to make this run here in the second half of the season. And, had a team meeting on Monday, talked about, the things that need to get done, and now it's about getting back to work.
We'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Light Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safe Light Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Coach, I know it's no surprise from your football team the way you've talked and what we've seen, but the fact that your team kept fighting through this game has to be an example of something you want any football team to have.
Well, I think that with all things considered in the game, you look at, we really had 2 possessions that, the fumble and then on the kickoff return, that really hurt us. But, all those things considered and, some penalties, we're in it right at the end of the game. And the defense gave the offense a chance by hanging in there, getting that stop there on the goal line. And then the offense all the way towards the end. But, certainly what we never want to do is leave it down to a play or 2. We've seen it before. And so, the theme all year has been leave no doubt. We didn't do that. And so then you leave it up to one play. We got to find a way to get that play, though. But we also got to get to the point where we leave no doubt.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The gloves. Shelly time.
All right, baby, a little bit of Shelly time. Home opener tonight. Obviously, there will be all sorts of emotions that are tied to this and what happens before the puck drops. Before we get to that, and I will with Jode in a second, I did want to talk about the first 2 games, buddy, and I noticed a little bit of difference in what we're seeing. I'm seeing young guys engaging. For the last couple of years, we're curious about Ken Johnson. He's off to a great start. This is a different look, and it's 2 games. I'm not going to crown anybody anything, but 2 games. I like the approach so far from this Dean Evison-led bunch.
Hey, it's not too early to get excited. I can hear it in your voice. It's fine. I'm with you. I think it's a different look. I think it's even what I sense is a different feel. You know, there's these guys understand what's asked of them from Dean Evison and his coaching staff, and that's so important. And, you know, the greatest example of how Dean came in, the head coach of the Blue Jackets, you know, everyone says you get a clean slate, right? But do you really get a clean slate? You know, not really sometimes. But he didn't know who was going to kill penalties. He didn't want to know who killed penalties. He said everyone in the preseason gets a chance to kill. And Kent Johnson, now who is, I think he's not killed a full minute in his hockey career ever. And now he's killing penalties in the National Hockey League and doing a great job of it. That's the kind of approach Dean Evison and his coaching staff has taken. He's identified him as a skilled player, but also a guy who is smart enough to understand the opposition's power play, and he sees him as an asset out there. And credit Kent. Remember, he was going down last year to the minor leagues to get stronger. Oh, yeah. He wasn't strong enough. But really, he had too much kind of wobble in his game. And what I mean is, to get speed, you have to go. Like, you got to get the puck and get away from the defenders. And Kent would slow the game down a little bit or get caught in between looking for the next play and slowing it down. Where now I think he's got a little more strength and a little more, I'd call it straight ahead in his game, and that's serving him well. That's the way the game's played right now. And he's been a bright spot. The whole team is really. They're really rallying around each other, to be honest with you, Bo. You know, the tragedy that's happened, you can tell that they're grieving together and they're working for each other. And it's been a fun start to the season on the ice for these guys.
What's so damn exciting about all of this is, and again, it's 2, but I'm jacked. I mean,
you can be excited.
I am. You got Chinnikov, Johnson, Marchenko, Ventilli, Sillinger. These guys are like most of these guys. I mean, Marchenko's 24, but these guys would all be like college kids. They're all kids. You know what I mean? We've been talking about them for so long, Jode. I mean, like we have been because we've been so excited to see them all play, but it feels like this is the perfect coach at the perfect time for these young players.
Well, Dean was asked this morning, in the press conference. They said he was asked about the Sillinger Johnson line, young line, and Dean goes, does it matter what their age is? Like, I just know that they're good hockey players. They're smart. They're reliable. They work hard. He goes, I don't really look at the age in this league anymore. And yeah, that's a good message or a good approach, I'll say, for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
I think it's sensational. I love that line. What difference does it make? We're not going to have excuses.
It's all we talk about. Yeah, I know.
Sick of it.
It's good.
I think the other thing that has to be said here is you have to have steady hand in veteran leadership. And you got a lot of that. You got some high character guys, and this is a tough spot, and we'll get to tonight and how emotional all that will be in a second. But they brought in some guys who have been through the battles, and they're showing from example. And I think that's evident as well early, Jode.
You know what? The impact an older player has on a young man's career is immeasurable. And you can ask the greats that have played the game. And Sidney Crosby needed Bill Guerin and John LeClaire and Mark Recchi when he was 19 years old to say, you don't need to do that. Don't comb your hair like that. Just whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Silly. Whatever. Just to say, you're one of us. We know you're the best player ever. We know you're the best player on the team, but you're one of us. And I think that's so valuable. James Van Riemsdyk, Jack Johnson, good Branson. Boone out is a huge loss, of course, but it just shows you that the other guys, Zach Werenski, to me, could be one of the best players in the National Hockey League right now. He lost weight in the offseason. He changed his diet, and he's back on that trajectory we thought 3 or 4 years ago. He's dealt with injury, but he's a beast out there, and I just love his approach. It's almost get out of my way. I don't really give a damn approach, and I think everyone kind of feeds off that.
It's obvious. It's been awesome. It's been really exciting first 2 times out. Look, opening night is really special, and I talked about this earlier in the show, having been to several of them. Everybody gets introduced, right? Everybody. And there's that spotlight. You get the debut of the pump-up video and all the stuff that comes with opening night. It's special, and the Blue Jackets do it as good as anybody in the league. This one will be different, obviously. How does a team manage what will be one of the most emotional things anyone's going to go through and then drop a puck and play a hockey game?
Everyone's going to handle it differently, but they're going to handle it together. And I think we're all going to feel the same way tonight at Nationwide Arena. And we're going to do it together. And I think the team's going to do it as a group. The Florida Panthers are going to do it as a group, individually and as a group. The city of Columbus, the state of Ohio, and the National Hockey League, the world. And tonight in the building, the players have been grieving and honoring Johnny in many different ways, and kind of helping each other and being together. And they've had Johnny Goodrow's dad on the ice the past 2 days. And, I just saw this man, Guy Goodrow, and it was great to be on the ice as a distraction, is how he put it to me. He's happy to be around the Blue Jackets because he knows the guys. But the family will be here, and to honor the life of Johnny, it doesn't bring him back. But it's going to be one of those nights for these guys that it's an important one. And, the ceremony is going to be tremendous. I just love the way the guys in the locker room have had the approach that Johnny would want us to do that. Johnny would be acting this way. Johnny would have said this. Johnny would have had an Uber. I heard one of the players at a practice at BU the other day, or not BU, Denver University. Sorry, I forgot where I was. And he was coming. He just got off the ice and he had a big smile. He said, Johnny would already be in an Uber and gone back to the hotel, kind of like he's in and out type of thing. And just, those little moments you hear the guys snickering and then, I hear there's tears and, but they're all doing it at their own pace. So tonight we're going to all do it together. And for those players, we're all going to be watching and we're going to be supporting them.
Judd, the thing that I knew it, and I know you know it, but just a reminder for the audience, like sometimes I think that we think that this is this, big sports world, but the hockey family is pretty small. Everybody knows everybody, Judd, and you've seen this throughout the league at the start of the season with all this stuff with Johnny and Matthew and paying tribute and Guy coming in and being a part of the skates. Like, it's a small, tight family in comparison, is it not?
It's hard to explain it. It's a caring. It really is. And we've done some traveling a little bit, outside, and every player, every scout, every fan, everyone that knows we're associated with the Blue Jackets has a heartfelt moment with any one of us to ask the first question: how are the guys doing? How are the fans doing? How does the organization handle this? And it's been spectacular to watch the Blue Jackets handle it, and the league is proud the way they've done it, but they're all supportive. And tonight is going to be watched by the entire hockey world, and it's a tight-knit group. It really is.
Really is, buddy. I'm just glad you're on it, because I think you and Mirzi do you guys have done great, and I think you're going to do a great job painting the pictures for the folks who can't be at Nationwide, and appreciate you as always, my friend, and let's go Jackets. Let's win one for Johnny.
All right, buddy. Well said. Great talking to you. Have a great day. It's going to be a spectacular night, and go Jackets.
Absolutely. A little bit of Shelly time for you. Jackets and Panthers tonight at Nationwide. Three things on a Tuesday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. Fall is here. It's the perfect time to replace those old, drafty windows before the cold sets in. As temperatures drop, you don't want to be stuck with windows that make your heating system work overtime, because that will cost you money. My guys at Universal Windows Direct back everything up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Plus 0% financing for 60 months. Restrictions apply, because they always do. Call them today, 614-502-5220, or go to uwd.com.
Breaking news: gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
There isn't a day that goes by that I don't appreciate what Awaken 180 has done for me. Scotty Vegas here, and since I started Awaken 180 in January, I lost and have kept off over 40 pounds. I hadn't been under 200 pounds since high school. Now I've been under 200 pounds for 5 straight months. My coach Patrick and I were laughing this week as I was telling him now in my tennis matches, instead of trying to play quick points, I have the energy to play long points and wait for my opponent to tire out. My metabolism is working the way it should now that I'm at my ideal weight. After you reach your ideal weight, Awaken 180 provides the free support for life. If you are ready to make the change and only do it once, do it. Call the long-term solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
A.J. Hawk won a national title, a Super Bowl, and a Lombardi Award, but his weekly appearance on Morning Juice Fridays at 8:33 is the real highlight of his career. If he tells you otherwise, he's lying.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
The Fan.
Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No. because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and fall is in the air, and that really gets me going for delicious, savory breakfast like the Bob Evans new value menu with a whole lot of fresh breakfast options for just $5.99. I love the new griddle stacker with a sausage patty, American cheese, bacon, and a fried egg. But get this, 3 mini hot cakes. You're going to love it too. Here's the best part, the price. It's right in your wheelhouse. It's in my wheelhouse. It's starting at only $7.99. Stacked high and price low. Check them out at bobevans.com or on the new mobile app.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have in the poll?
All right, the Daily Fan poll asks, how many more weeks will Deshaun Watson be the starter for your Cleveland Browns? 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. The rest of the season are your options. 52% of you, including me, say the rest of the season. 31% say 1 to 2 weeks. 12% 3 to 4 weeks. 3% say 5 to 6 weeks as Deshaun Watson, your Cleveland Browns quarterback.
I would say if it doesn't get better, 3 to 4, because that gets you to the bye. So that's my if it kind of stays in this world that they're in, I would say 3 to 4 is kind of where you stand on that. All right, time for 3 things on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me. I'm just going to read this quote directly. Well, I had a little run-in with my cattle over the weekend. I guess they've been watching us play and got head-butted. So I've got a bad eye that I didn't think would be particularly enjoyable for people when they were looking at my pretty face in a live interview. More importantly, it's full of blood and I get dizzy. The quote is from Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy, the same man who did I'm a Man, I'm 40, the same man who is still sporting a mullet, and this is why I love college football. A cow head-butted the head coach at Oklahoma State, and he did a Zoom meeting instead of a live one because he didn't want you to see it.
I thought that was going to be a text from your dad when you first started.
I was thinking your dad.
No, you don't. Those cows, they know how they end up on the Ponderosa, so there's no headbutting. No headbutting, yeah.
I've got this from the world of college football. Our pal Doug LeMaurice threw this in my timeline, but Dennis Dodd breaking overnight SEC and Big Ten in preliminary talks to play a series of challenge non-conference games against each other that would further their primacy in FBS and stiff-arm private equity and Super League incursions. Doug LeMaurice says, I created a hypothetical SEC Big Ten challenge and proposed it to then Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney and discussed it with him in 2007. From an article he wrote for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, quote, too bad the Big Ten leader spent the previous 15 minutes poking holes in my idea for the SEC Big Ten Challenge.
Good for Doug.
That's why you should listen to Doug, kids.
I'm going to need to change my second thing, so we'll see how good I am at improvising. But first thing, huge drop-off in regular season performance over the past 3 years from one Giancarlo Stanton. He was once a power hitter, still has a lot of power, has struggled with injury issues, but the batting average has just become quite putrid, except for the postseason. How about this? He's 7 for 19. Quick math tells me that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 350, 4 extra base hits. Had an 1,100 OPS versus Kansas City, 1,800 OPS currently versus Cleveland. Giancarlo Stanton waited till the postseason to come alive, but he's definitely alive now.
And that's why he's worth every penny for them.
Yeah, that's what it matters. That's what they're paying him for. I don't care about the regular season.
No. This one from Ross Dellinger, and we led the show with this story. The NCAA Rules Committee is examining the loophole that Oregon coaches used against Ohio State. A committee official tells Yahoo Sports they could take in-season action to address the play by directing officials to handle it differently in the future. Oh, you don't think? You don't think? Jeez. Of course. It has to be a penalty. It has to be an actual penalty.
Way to be proactive there, NCAA.
Good for Lanning. He knew it. He used it. Tip your hat. But God.
Because, of course, Mark Cuban was on First Take this morning, and they were talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Cubes got caught on a hot mic saying, quote, "I feel bad for Jerry. I really like him." Now you're the one, Mark. That's it. Just you.
I saw something over the weekend, and I am going to give this guy a slight defense. Kirby Smart is on camera during the Mississippi State game shoving a Mississippi State quarterback. I actually do think that this was kind of an accident because he was making a beeline toward the official. He saw somebody emerging out of his periphery from his own sideline. I kind of think that he thought it was his own player, which we can argue about whether or not he should be shoving them, but I don't think that Kirby Smart shoved that kid intentionally. So when everyone's blowing up about it on social media, I think that he was so enraged with the officiating that he actually did not see it coming.
I agree with you. I also think, there aren't many of those guys left that are just maniacs on the sidelines. He's very old school in that sense, but I don't think he went out of his way to shove an opponent. I think he didn't even see. He was just seeing red, honestly, much like Mike Gundy through his eye. Number 3 for me, really enjoyed having all of the stuff on last night with the baseball and then the football. And as the boys went to bed, I went back to my favorite hobby, which is flipping back and forth between a sporting event that I'm sort of watching and a movie. And I've come to the conclusion that Wolf of Wall Street is the most rewatchable flip-over movie on cable at the moment. I can watch 5 to 6 minutes of that at any point, no matter where it is in the movie, and I come away thinking it's a delight. It was pure joy last night. Great film.
Yeah, that's 2 hours of just entertainment. Pure entertainment at any moment in the movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
You never want to miss a minute on The Fan, obviously. But tomorrow at 8 a.m., Ohio State's Jake Diebler is going to be in studio with Bob and Beam. They're going to do a couple of segments in the 8 o'clock hour. Buckeyes play Cincinnati in an exhibition Friday night at Fifth Third Arena in Ohio's Queen City. So here it is, folks. Basketball season.
Away we go.
And that makes up for the other Ohio State coach not being on our air in the next 24 hours. Ryan Day will not have a press conference coming up here at the top of the hour like they usually do on Tuesday. So it will be Rothman and Ice as usually scheduled.
All right, there you go. Lots to get forward to. You got the opener tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you're watching that one. If you can't get to the arena, it will be emotional. It will be special. Go Jackets. Win one for Johnny. Win one for Matthew. Win one for the Gaudreau family. And let's get that done tonight. Rothman and Ice up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Oh, hi, fellow hockey fan. Did you know that it's Blue Jackets week? Of course you did. Proud to be your home for the Jackets. The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com and use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. Big Ten odds for this weekend. Friday, Oregon gives Purdue 27.5. Saturday, Michigan's a 3.5-point road favorite over Illinois. Indiana's giving Nebraska 6.5, and USC's a touchdown favorite at Maryland. For your Prime Sports Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play, like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty interior paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when tinted to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Color Collection.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app to